Chapter 923. The God Burial Mountain was silent and cold. In this dimly lit world, Su Yin crossed the void and headed towards the entrance. Along the way, he didn't find any danger. The experts of the Ancestral Palace were worried that Su Yin would find out in advance. In order to not alert Su Yin, they asked Zhu Yuanqing to stop using the space-time mirror to observe Su Yan's movements. 2 days have passed. Su Yin should be at the entrance soon, right? The atmosphere outside was oppressive. The experts of the various races were anxiously waiting. They wanted to know the result. Su Yan's every move was related to the God Burial Mountain. They didn't know if the secrets of this danger zone would be revealed to the public. Soon, an expert from the demon region emitted a powerful primordial spirit fluctuation as he sneered. Su Yin will definitely let his guard down if he leaves unscathed after traveling for 2 days. We'll wait for him to let his guard down before we make our move. I'm afraid Su Yin will never expect that there's a trap waiting for him. If we could take down Su Yin in one fell swoop, I suggest that the North Monster and the others return immediately to investigate the secrets of the God Burial Mountain. That's right. No matter how precious the Heavenly God Tree is, it can't be compared to exploring the God Burial Mountain. I really hope that this danger zone can bring us many surprises. I hope that we can find the top materials in this world. In this oppressive area, powerful auras constantly rippled. The auras of the old Yuan spirits made the experts of the Martial clan and Daluo dynasty who were closely watching them change their expressions. They were plotting here and didn't leak any information. It was very likely that they were discussing something important. Su Yin is in danger. We don't know where the killing trap is. An expert of the Martial clan said in a deep voice, I hope that Su Yin can survive this calamity. This is a killing trap that several peak races have been plotting for a long time. The Han family must be the mastermind behind it. If the ancestral force of the Strange Doors is determined to kill Su Yin, they will definitely pay a huge price. I hope that Su Yin can resist them. They could only look forward to it, but they were also feeling extremely nervous. How could a killing trap set up by the joint forces of the various peak clans be easily resolved? They would definitely confirm that this was a killing trap that could kill an all-heavens supremacy. Even without Zhu Tian and the others, with the resources of the peak races, it was no problem to take out some special treasures to suppress Su Yin. Not to mention the appearance of the God Burial Mountain, they would definitely pay a price. The peak races would pay a price to deal with Su Yin. That was really frightening. It should be known that it was not just one peak clan. The monster area might have joined hands with the Ancestral Hall, the Dark Nether race, and even the Divine Firmament Star area. Of course, the Han family was behind this. Su Yin is really in trouble. An expert of the Great Luo dynasty noticed the relaxed and carefree smile of the Divine King of the Ancestral Hall. They had absolute confidence, which meant that the killing trap was terrifying enough. After all, half a year had passed. Who knew what kind of death trap they had created? Could Su Yin really withstand it? Now, Su Yin was getting closer and closer to the entrance of the 10th Chaos Channel. Someone is spying on me from afar. Su Yin's expression was normal, but he was paying attention. Someone was spying on him. Although it was very subtle and difficult to detect, Su Yin's primordial spirit had transformed after consuming 10 drops of green primordial spirit elixir. His mental power was now at its peak, and it had a strength that was close to the Divine King's primordial spirit. Su Yan's primordial spirit cultivated the Sutra of Future, so it had a shocking grasp of space and time. Therefore, Su Yin felt a chill in his heart when he caught someone secretly following him. If it was the Su Yin of the past, he definitely wouldn't have been able to catch it. But now it was different. Someone was clearly following him. Although it was very careful and cautious, it was a tracking expert that trespassed into the great Tao of space, but still couldn't hide from Su Yan's probing. Very good. Looks like someone can't sit still. The secret of God Burial Mountain is really tempting. But if you really climb the mountain, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the losses. A smile appeared on Su Yan's face as he chuckled. Now, I really want to know how much you will pay to deal with me. Su Yan's heart was overflowing with killing intent. The blood of war that had been calm for many years was faintly burning. In truth, even if no one was following him, he would still maintain absolute vigilance. Su Yin had experienced countless life and death situations, so he couldn't be careless at this critical moment. As you wish, this land of slaughter should be in the 10th Chaos Channel. Su Yan's speed was faintly increasing. The person who was secretly following Su Yin was indeed a great expert. He was wearing a long black gown and was like a black ghost drifting in the air. He coldly said in his heart, "The door of death is approaching. Su Yin, I want to see how many tricks you have that have not been forced out. However, no matter how many tricks you have, you will not be able to escape." He believed that Su Yin wouldn't be able to discover him. Otherwise, the ancestral hall wouldn't have sent him here. This person's grasp of space had reached the acme of perfection, and now he was tracking Su Yin from such a long distance. How could there be any problems? No matter how much he thought about it, he would never have imagined that Su Yan's attainments in the primordial spirit had already approached the domain of a divine king. His mental energy undulations were powerful, and he could easily observe the movements of the grass within a radius of 50,000 kilometers. The primordial spirit is really important. Su Yin thought in his heart, if my primordial spirit can take another step forward, it will be even stronger. The primordial spirit of an almighty expert can sweep through an ancient life star or even explore a life star field. This kind of expert is truly terrifying and heaven-defying. Su Yin strolled leisurely. After another day of traveling, Su Yin finally saw the 10th Chaos Channel in the distance. Is this considered a new lease on life? Celestial Emperor War Banner, I really have to thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. I wouldn't have been able to witness the glory of the celestial court. Su Yin sighed. He had cultivated on God Burial Mountain for 2 years. Now that he thought about it, he still had a lingering fear in his heart. He hoped that one day he would be able to uncover the secrets of God Burial Mountain. Step by step, he approached the place where many people were waiting for him. The black shadow that followed Su Yin grew increasingly excited. Su Yin was already close to his destination. As long as he rushed out of the channel, what awaited him would be a nightmare of death. Su Yin knew that there was a killing trap in front of him, but he didn't fear it. Step by step, he rushed towards the entrance of God Burial Mountain. Since he had cultivated to this domain, he didn't fear any powerhouse in the world. Even if it was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, he would still rush in. I'm coming. His pupils became increasingly sharp. His figure vanished from God Burial Mountain's territory as he stepped into the 10th Chaos Channel. When Su Yin arrived here, he was a bit surprised. His vigilance was extremely high, but Su Yin didn't discover any danger zones. Was he overthinking things? There was no danger here at all. But as soon as this thought appeared, it was directly dispelled by Su Yin. Now that he had returned from God Burial Mountain, there would definitely be people who wouldn't be able to sit still. Su Yin also let out a sigh of relief. During these years of cultivation on God Burial Mountain, he had been isolated from the rest of the world. Now that he had returned to the Chaos Channel and sensed the rich source of life in the world, Su Yan's body was bathed in a layer of divine luster. He walked forward step by step, following a path that led him to the chaotic divine mountain. He wanted to take a stroll to the land of fortune that the ancestral hall had created and see if there were any harvests. However, Su Yin had just walked a short distance when his heart suddenly became alert. All the hairs on his body stood on end. An extremely dangerous aura of death was closing in on him. There was a terrifying trend of directly shooting Su Yin down and sinking him. It was a terrifying killing trap. There was a danger that could kill all the powerhouses in the world. Even someone as strong as Su Yin had to awaken his body to resist this danger. He's coming. In the originally quiet world, rivers and mountains, a roar echoed. A low roar was heard. A clap of thunder burst out, accompanied by a vast wave of energy. The terrifying aura of death surged and shattered the sky. All of this happened too quickly and suddenly. The energy fluctuations that appeared in a short period of time had reached the peak of grandeur. Within it, One could see numerous array disks burning, emitting a killing array light that overflowed to the heavens. Boom! The vast territory swayed and trembled violently. Mountains, rivers, and the earth began to crumble as they shook. The destructive power made the cultivators in the distance tremble. They all exclaimed, "This is the activation of a super killing array. Oh my God, how can it be so sudden? Who set up this killing array? Who's suppressing whom?" Ha! Su Yin has fallen into the trap. The great figures occupying the outside world were all agitated. They all sensed the boundless source of slaughter within the 10th Chaos Passage. Even the entire 10th Chaos Passage was shaking. This was because when this killing formation was ignited, the energy gushing out was simply too violent. Whoosh! It was a killing trap that was set off in a split second, causing the world to boil and releasing energy fluctuations that could destroy the heavens and extinguish the earth. How could there be such a terrifying killing array operating here? The cultivators passing by in the distance were so scared that they fell to the ground. They found this hard to believe. What was going on? How could such a strong energy erupt? They couldn't help but shiver, their bodies stinging with pain from the gushing killing array's strength. They even saw a figure in the sea of slaughter being torn to shreds by the ferocious light of purgatory. Whoosh! The entire audience was in an uproar. Even the big shots entrenched in the outside world felt their hearts skip a beat. Could it be that Su Yin had been killed in a single move? The Han family's old grandmaster's complexion darkened. This wasn't right. This wasn't right. Su Yin wouldn't have died so easily because everything happened too quickly. He didn't have a chance to resist at all. Could it be that he had sensed the killing array ahead of time? But that shouldn't be the case. Even if Su Yin had cultivated to the heavenly deity realm, he didn't have a powerful primordial spirit perception, so he shouldn't have sensed the killing array ahead of time. Moreover, the killing array had been activated at an astonishing speed, so how could he have avoided it? Heaven and earth were still boiling and burning. The killing array that the Han family had painstakingly prepared covered an area of 100,000 li. When it truly began to awaken, it would destroy the heavens and earth, and all living things would be killed. That demon Su Yin has finally been killed. Many people were shouting excitedly in the distance. Their voices were in unison, exploding like thunder. It shook one's soul, causing the cultivators passing by to tremble. What are they talking about? Su Yin had been killed? Could it be that the person who had entered the killing array was Madman Su? Idiots! The Han family's old grandmaster's complexion changed in anger. He didn't expect them to be so impatient. They hadn't even figured out the situation and had directly exposed their location. These people were so excited that they were dancing with joy. They hid in a spatial hole and shouted excitedly. They felt that they had killed a supreme being and were especially excited. Am I a demon? Suddenly, the dozen or so excited cultivators' faces stiffened. This was because they saw a person standing in front of them and speaking such a sentence. You! These cultivators looked as if they had seen a ghost. They pointed their fingers at Su Yin in disbelief. How could this be? Why was Su Yin still alive? How did he suddenly appear here? Why was his speed so fast? Demon, that's good too. Su Yin's dormant aura suddenly awakened. The magnificent source of qi and blood soared into the sky, and a terrifying battle constitution burned. At this moment, he really looked like a supreme demon king who had descended to the mortal world. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes released monstrous killing intent. Even the killing array covering 100,000 li couldn't suppress Su Yan's domineering and majestic appearance. Nine Heaven's Divine Emperor. Chapter 9:24. Su Yin stepped onto the stage with the attitude of a ruler overlooking the world. He suppressed the burning battle blood, and the world began to shake. Beams of dragon-shaped blood essence light appeared one after another, piercing through the heavens and causing the stars in the skies to tremble. He was too powerful and astonishing. Killing light shot out in all directions from his eyes as he overlooked the entire world, releasing endless divine radiance. It's Madman Su, it really is him. The 10th channel released a great tremor. The distant cultivators watching were all terrified. Su Yin, who had disappeared for 2 years, had returned from beneath God Burial Mountain. He stepped onto the stage with a tyrannical attitude, overlooking the world and releasing a terrifying thunderous fury. Someone sensed that the great powers had joined hands to lay down a killing trap to trap and kill Su Yin. In the end, Su Yin had sensed this ahead of time. Moreover, with his current speed, he could have left the disaster zone in the blink of an eye. Now, the energy fluctuations he erupted with were terrifying to the point where all the powerhouses in the spatial hole trembled with fear. Their eyes were filled with dread. Time seemed to return to several years ago when Su Yin unleashed a slaughter in the 10 great chaos channels. But now, he was even more powerful than before. He stood at the peak of his era, overlooking his peers. Even heavenly deities would have to crawl before him. Apo. There were old powerhouses who cried out miserably. Their primordial spirits felt like they were going to split apart. Their hearts were filled with fear. How could this be? How could Su Yan's primordial spirit be so strong? Before the pressure even reached them, when Su Yan's primordial spirit erupted, that terrifying spiritual strength made their primordial spirits feel like they were going to split apart. What kind of astonishing primordial spirit cultivation was this? They were all dizzy. At the same time, they also realized that this was the key to Su Yin avoiding this killing trap. His primordial spirit Dao field was extraordinary, allowing him to avoid disaster ahead of time. Su Yan's eyes were filled with killing intent. He never thought the Han family would pay such a great price to create such a powerful killing trap. If it was the previous Su Yin, he feared he really would have fallen for it. All of you deserve to die. Su Yin let out a thunderous roar towards the sky, and his demonic aura filled the sky. Millions of layers of golden ripples rippled out from his body, and they contained the origin of blood essence that covered the sky. With a whoosh, they struck towards this time and space hole. Under the shocked gazes of the surrounding people, the space-time hole that interweaved with all kinds of formation marks suddenly collapsed with a loud rumble under Su Yan's loud roar. The wrath of the gods and devils could burn the mountains and boil the seas. One after another, the cultivators' corporeal bodies directly exploded. They couldn't survive at all. It was like a giant, vicious beast looking down on the world. With a loud roar, it caused the universe's celestial bodies to fall down one after another. Oh my God! All of the experts who saw this scene shivered inwardly. This type of exuberant divine force was even more terrifying and frightening than the old monsters. With a great roar, the gods and devils in the sky all withered away. There were even heavenly deities who coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, their bodies cracking apart. This type of tyrannical aura, exceptional sharpness, shocked the world, making the 10th chaotic passage completely boil over. Without a doubt, Su Yin became even stronger, easily able to cover the heavens. He definitely stepped into the heavenly deity realm. How long? When Su Yin spat out, a great flood gushed out, defying the heavens and throwing the earth into chaos. Even heavenly deities coughed out heart blood, their expressions filled with despair. Just how powerful of a source of life was this to be able to produce such terrifying destructive force? Without a doubt, the entire space-time whole flowed with a long river of blood. Several dozen cultivators had their corporeal bodies crushed by Su Yan's roar. When his palm reached out, it was as if the hand of the heavens was grasping the bodies of cultivators one after another. Pung! This place exploded. Su Yin broke through the entire space-time hole, sacrificing the experts of various races. Kill him for me, kill him. Many people lost control. They racked their brains to arrange this killing trap precisely because they wanted to kill Su Yin and trap him within. However, they fell as soon as they began. A great tumble. Losing a few cultivators wasn't much, but the key was that it was too shameful. Were they going to let the entire world see them as a joke? Of course, they also understood that the killing trap had just begun. However, for Su Yin, the blood in his body was already boiling. He had to fight to the end. This was also merely the beginning. Wong. A great banner fluttered about, interweaving with profound formation markings. It emerged from a space-time hole, and as it danced about, ghosts wept and deities howled. The heavens collapsed, and the earth split apart, and the winds waved about with woo-woo sounds as it tore through the heavens. Su Yin, you definitely won't be able to escape. A group of young experts slaughtered their way out from the Han family. Every single one of them possessed heaven-shocking strength. Their might was constantly combined together, forming a terrifying great formation diagram. They possessed world-shocking strength that could sweep through all the kings of their generation. No matter how strong you are, since you've already entered the trap, you are destined to die here. Another space-time hole shone. A group of young seeds from the ancestral hall slaughtered their way out. They held all types of killing weapons in their hands, and they could easily suppress these rivers and mountains. Su Yin, your end has already arrived. Are you going to surrender without putting up a fight? If you can still slaughter your way out, then we might as well just smash ourselves to death on tofu. A third space-time hole ignited. A group of creatures from the fiend domain rushed out, and each of them devoured the starry skies. Essence blood surged as they crossed the battlefield. Their blood and chi flowed endlessly, rising and falling like boundless smoke signals. God Burial Mountain's secret is destined to belong to us. The fourth space-time hole shone, and tens of thousands of lightning streaked about. A group of experts from the Divine Firmament sect walked out, brandishing heavy lightning hammers. They emitted thunderous sounds from the 9 heavens, and they could easily destroy the bodies of experts. In succession, there were all types of space-time holes that lit up. The expressions of the spectators changed. There were over 100 peak experts, and they were all experts at the heavenly deity domain. They were the most prestigious figures of their younger generation, and their eyes all emitted killing intent. What kind of situation was this? Over 100 peak experts, all of them surging with essence blood, burning like a great furnace. Over 100 overlords' killing intent poured down like a waterfall, releasing a terrifying deterrent force that intimidated the rivers and mountains of the universe. What terrifying methods! The various peak races have joined hands, dispatching their elites to kill Su Yin. Many people's hearts trembled. Over 100 peak experts had joined hands, and they were the elites of the various races. They held all kinds of treasures in their hands. Who could escape from such a situation? Su Yin's hair was thick. He stood tall between heaven and earth, facing the crowd alone. There was a terrifying, tyrannical aura rising, releasing his own unique radiance. He had killed his way here, so he wouldn't be frightened by such a lineup. Ha ha! He was laughing loudly with his head raised. In the end, his body blazed like a furnace that covered the heavens. He coldly stared at them and shouted, "Who dares to come and fight me?" When these words were spoken, the experts who were trying to kill Su Yin had gloomy expressions. Someone directly said, "Su Yin, your end is already here. Don't be so arrogant. My clan's Zhu Tian disdains to kill you now." A bunch of trash. Su Yin let out a short shout, causing many people's blood and chi to churn. They couldn't stand steadily. He sneered and said, "If you don't dare to come, then come at me together. You useless chickens and pottery dogs want to kill me? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourselves in the mirror? You're too arrogant." Over 100 peak experts were enraged. Their auras erupted at the same time. This might wasn't too shocking. They formed a vast sea of essence blood and pierced through the heavens. The sea of stars filled the sky and swept through the desolate lands. The world was illuminated resplendently. Even Su Yan's might had to be suppressed. These were over 100 peak experts dispatched by the various peak races. Under their fury, the mountains and rivers lost their color, and the sun and moon lost their luster. Everything was about to crumble. Break. This method is too frightening. Can Su Yin endure it? These are over 100 peak experts. The various races are truly ruthless. They actually sent over 100 peak experts to kill Su Yin. Do they want to directly destroy him? Who knows? Let's wait and see. Madman Su's combat strength is exceptional. He'll definitely respond to them with his strongest power. I don't believe Su Yin will be suppressed. Just wait and see. The various races' faces will definitely turn green. Don't be too optimistic. The various races have paid such a great price. How can they let Su Yin escape unscathed? I reckon they've come for the secret of God Burial Mountain. The spectators grew more and more. They were truly shocked. The various peak races were truly shameless. They had joined forces to dispatch over 100 peak experts to surround and hunt Su Yin. Suppress. They roared in unison. Their momentum shook the heavens and surged forward with great momentum. They had already arranged a strategy before. Now, they had erupted with a terrifying energy source. Over 100 peak experts joined forces to resonate with the source of life within their bodies. One could imagine just how magnificent this scene would be. It was as if a sea of stars in the cosmos had been severed and hacked down. Everything was covered up and suppressed. The streams of energy that seeped out made all deities tremble. It was extremely difficult to resist this type of intimidating force. It was to the extent where some of them were even wondering if they could suppress a divine king with just their divine force alone. Everything became indistinct. The void was melted down. No matter what, it couldn't stop this terrifying momentum. Look, someone cried out because they discovered that Su Yin was unmoved from beginning to end. No matter how the heavens fell and the earth cracked, he remained unmoved. It was as if he had transformed into a cauldron that stood indomitable. No matter how the wind blew or the rain battered him, Su Yin was like a king overlooking the world. The condensed great Tao divine force within his body also welcomed an era of recovery. Even though their might was strong, Su Yin had climbed the mountain for over a year. He had endured all kinds of hardships and completed the bloody trial. How could the previous Su Yin compare to him? How long? In an instant, people felt as if the earth had been trampled to pieces. That shadow finally began to erupt. At this moment, he was sharp to the extreme. His flesh burned fiercely, and his pores gushed out with peerless sharpness. Su Yin seemed to have transformed into a great halberd that could cleave all things, cut down all creatures, and kill all kings in the world. Rip! A large black crack appeared. No matter how strong the energy source was, it couldn't stop Su Yan's peerless fighting strength. A large hole was formed in the sky. That figure blazed with boundless brilliance. Who dares to take a punch from me? Su Yin roared loudly. Thousands of true dragons circled around Su Yin as they passed through the sky. He withstood the monstrous pressure and released his overwhelming combat strength. Once the strength of the true dragons that filled the sky completely erupted, it was as if 10,000 dragons had left their nest. Dong! He also brandished his fist. 10,000 dragons left the cage and pierced through the blue sky. His strength was peerless. Brothers, the second chapter has been updated in advance. I've been too busy these days. A few of my friends are getting married, and I have to attend. It's getting closer and closer to my wedding. I won't be home at night. In addition, I'll be preparing a red packet on my public account. Everyone, follow my public account, One Leaf of Clear Sky, and check the history. It was just released this morning. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 925. How could this be? The scene in the space-time mirror caused many people to feel a chill run down their spines. These were over 100 peak experts working together to resonate with their life sources in an attempt to trap Su Yin. However, the difference in the outcome was too great. Su Yin had used his absolute strength to forcefully break open the seal and even release a heaven-shaking combat strength to punch over 100 peak experts. Inconceivable. Su Yan's divine force is too tyrannical. His combat strength is completely different. Just what kind of opportunity did he obtain on God Burial Mountain? He has tempered himself countless times. Even with such a powerful energy suppression, he can still use a unique method to tear open an opening. He must have comprehended some form of combat strength evolution. He must have gone through a bloody tempering. Did he obtain it on God Burial Mountain? Or could it be that Su Yin obtained some kind of prehistoric extreme art? The old antiques of various races discussed spiritedly. They wanted to uncover the secrets of Su Yan's cultivation. Before, he seemed to have transformed into a cauldron that withstood the terrifying suppression of the world without fear. Later on, he even transformed into a great halberd with matchless sharpness and forcefully hacked open the seal. One had to say that this was a type of miracle. It was also a type of combat strength evolution that had been cultivated to an extremely profound level. This was especially true for the martial race experts who were proficient in all kinds of martial arts, extreme arts. Su Yin had used his strength to break through, using the extreme combat strength he excelled in. It had to be said that this was a type of violent beauty. However, they never imagined that Su Yin would use violence to curb violence and respond with a peerless attitude. This was a bit too shocking. There were also some old experts from various orthodoxies who sighed. If Su Yin wasn't a rising star of the Buried Region race, perhaps they would have already come and accepted Su Yin as a disciple. Everyone knew what he lacked was resources. However, Su Yin already possessed them. This trip to God Burial Mountain would inevitably be a fruitful one. Only the peak experts of the Ancestral Hall had gloomy expressions. They were speechless. Over 100 peak experts had joined forces to suppress him, yet he still managed to escape. Wasn't this too frightening? Just how powerful was his foundation? Just what kind of origin energy did he fuse with? Actually, the reason why Su Yin could erupt with such tyrannical power was naturally due to the primal chaos source gas. He used brute force to break through the technique, and even more so, he erupted with terrifying strength. The fist light he brandished was like a rainbow, containing a spiritual will that could pierce through everything. In particular, the 10,000 dragons coming out of the cage shook the heavens and the earth, containing a kind of supreme heavenly might. Boom! Once this fist was unleashed, it would slay even gods and Buddhas that stood in its way. Roar! It was a world-shaking scene. It was as if a real true dragon was being bombarded out. One after another, golden light filled the sky. Dragon roars shook the heavens. There was a kind of supreme might. Su Yin unleashed the profundities derived from the dragon totem, channeling the true dragon bloodline's great divine abilities and mercilessly blasting them out through the large crack that he pierced through. Over 100 peak experts paled. They had already unleashed such a vast source of energy, but Su Yin could similarly break through it. He even seized the initiative and erupted with a great killing technique. Boom! In a single exchange, the dozen or so experts trembled, bloody holes appearing in their bodies. They didn't even have time to react. Their expressions were filled with fear as the true dragon directly penetrated their bodies. Heavens! Everyone was frightened. What kind of crazy and ferocious method was this? It was ridiculously ferocious. Even the killing strength that Su Yin erupted with arrived in an instant, directly piercing through the chests of the dozen or so cultivators, causing them to cry out miserably. They were in so much pain that they wished they were dead. They felt as if their bodies were about to collapse. Incredible, incredible. The Marshall clan was incomparably shocked. He arrived in an instant and erupted with such a powerful strength. Just what kind of cruel training did Su Yin undergo? He actually possessed such a tyrannical method. His grasp of battle form had truly reached a terrifying level. Bastard, kill him for me. The remaining group of peak experts were furious. They no longer hid their strength or acted arrogantly. However, the storm they stirred up was a bit frightening. There were great killing weapons flying through the air, war banners waving in the air, thunder hammers bombarding down, and killing swords slashing down. In short, they all carried all kinds of heavy killing weapons. In addition, they released energy from their bodies, causing this scene to be too shocking. Who could block this kind of power? Shwa! However, in the next moment, some people felt as if their hearts had been grabbed and crushed. A person's heart was filled with great fear. Su Yin arrived in an instant, using the earth shrinking technique. He crossed time and space and appeared in front of an enemy. His domineering aura had already caused this person to tremble in fear. It was as if he had fallen into purgatory. No, he was frightened to death. He didn't even have the courage to resist and directly fled for his life. Bastard. This scene really caused the various large clans of the Fiend realm to explode with anger. Damn, over 100 peak experts were surrounding Su Yin. He, on the other hand, directly fled after facing Su Yin. Just what were you afraid of? At the same time, this also proved a problem. Su Yan's ferocious might was too great. Among the younger generation, how many people dared to compete with him? Boom! This fleeing person had just taken a few steps when the boundless space began to tremble. Don't kill me. He was frightened to death. His liver and gallbladder were about to split apart. The energy source that came from the trembling space caused his eyes to darken, and he was about to faint. This person had completely lost his will to fight. His entire body trembled, and he even felt a chill run down his neck. His soul was completely swallowed up by fear. His head had been removed by Su Yin and then crushed by Su Yin. Damn it, suppress him for me. Peak experts from all directions went mad with anger. They had sent out so many experts, but could it be that they couldn't stop Su Yan's footsteps? The moment Su Yin killed this person, all kinds of vast energy sources surged through the skies. They wanted to use a peerless stance to directly suppress Su Yin. However, the moment all of this approached him, Su Yin let out a long roar. His pores spewed out brilliant light, interweaving with thousands of mysterious heavenly marks, flowing with the supreme profundity of the beginning of all things, and filled with a terrifying sense of oppression. Su Yin seemed to have transformed into a bell of the great Tao that was born at the beginning of the chaos. It rumbled, and the sound waves could be said to be like thunder, emitting a kind of destructive lightning tribulation light that forcibly tore apart the killing power that filled the sky. Lightning profundity. Many people's expressions changed, especially the experts of the Divine Firmament sect. Their expressions were uncertain. This was the lightning profundity, and the level of cultivation was extremely high. How could Su Yin grasp the lightning profundity? Who taught it to him? Right now, they were not in the mood to think about these things. In short, no matter how spectacular the divine power between heaven and earth was, as long as it did not exceed a certain limit, Su Yin was still standing in the domain of invincibility. In the next moment, he transformed into a lightning halberd, surrounded by lightning, and slashed into the battlefield. It was an extremely spectacular scene. The lightning halberd was snow-white and monstrous, splitting layers of energy sources. The radiance that scattered down was like thousands of lightning dragons that surged into the battlefield, erupting a series of huge earthquakes. Is he invincible? Su Yan's actions made them turn pale with shock. They saw Su Yin rush into the battlefield, brave and invincible, and his moves were grand. Just like that, he swept all the way, his body swooping down close to the ground. Who could stop his power? He sometimes transformed into a halberd, sometimes into a bell of the great Tao, and sometimes into a dragon and tiger. His aura changed constantly, surging with the peerless power of the beginning of all things. Boom! Everything collapsed. He was simply a sharp blade that cut through the battlefield. With a loud roar, 10,000 mountains trembled and the primal chaos collapsed. Everything before him was disdainful and the world shook. So what if there were over 100 peak experts? They simply could not trap Su Yin. The journey to the God Burial Mountain had tempered Su Yin thousands of times. Now, he was verifying his own gains here. One had to admit that he had transformed and was completely different. Every movement of his was suffused with a terrifying sense of oppression. One peak expert after another was killed by Su Yin. A mountain range was shattered and sunk by his roar. What left them flabbergasted was that when a lightning hammer struck Su Yan's flesh shell, it actually produced the sound of iron striking. Just how sturdy was this body? It was so domineering that even treasures couldn't damage it. Even the experts wielding the lightning hammers were shaken to the point that their palms were cracked. Bastard! The Han family's old grandmaster's eyes turned red. If Su Yin hadn't sensed the danger beforehand, he definitely wouldn't have been able to break through the Han family's painstakingly prepared killing formation so easily. However, even without the killing formation, over 100 peak experts working together still couldn't suppress Su Yin. They even found it difficult to injure him. Su Yin swept through the entire battlefield. His combat strength grew stronger as he fought. His divine power of the great Tao covered the sky and filled the earth. A peerless overlord of a generation erupted. It was as if he was stepping on the corpses of kings. He stood at the peak of the heavens, majestic and imposing, shocking the world. Su Yin is invincible. Someone lost control and let out a roar. His reverence was self-evident. This was an invincible stance that swept through the entire battlefield. Who could stop Su Yin? Over 100 peak experts couldn't trap him. Su Yin had forcefully broken through the situation. Perhaps only Zhu Tian and the others could pose a threat to Su Yin. As for the other experts, they weren't on the same level at all. No matter how strong you are, you still have to kneel before us peak experts. Su Yin, hand over your life. Someone couldn't bear such a crushing defeat and finally let out a roar. A diagram shot out from his sleeve. As it burned fiercely, it was as if a corner of the universe had fallen from the sky. It emitted a source of energy that could suppress all things in the universe. This diagram was magnificent and peerless. On the diagram, the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains were engraved. They interweaved with supreme momentum and were filled with peerless power that could suppress kings. At the moment when he erupted, vaguely, there were millions of mountains lined up. The stars in the sky rumbled and revolved. In short, the aura it emitted locked down an area of 100,000 miles. This is the sun-moon mountain-river diagram. The expressions of the experts of the older generation changed. They couldn't help but exclaim. Their eyes turned red because this was a rare supreme treasure, the sun-moon mountain-river diagram. Rumor had it that this diagram required the essence of millions of mountains and the source of endless stars. It was a rare supreme treasure that could only be forged after a long period of tempering. The potential of the sun-moon mountain-river diagram could be said to be endless. Its suppressive power was peerless and terrifying. It could be said to be an invincible treasure of its generation. The trump card of the Han family, the sun-moon mountain-river diagram, was extremely precious. Its forging method was too profound and complex. It was extremely difficult for a grandmaster to forge it. The value of this diagram couldn't be measured by money. It was a supreme treasure that the ancestors of the Han family spent countless years to forge. Chapter 9:26. The whole place was in an uproar. The Han family had really spent a lot of money. Logically speaking, the potential of this sun-moon mountain-river painting was so great that it shouldn't only be at its current level. The old grandmaster of the Han clan stepped forward and explained, this diagram was originally made for the younger generation of the Han clan's supreme martial artists. It would be easy for it to evolve into a divine king's weapon. In the future, it might even evolve into a supreme martial artist's saint weapon. A sun, moon, river, and mountain painting that contained a great Tao saint weapon was truly an extremely rare treasure. In order to forge this treasure, the Han family had spent countless years gathering the essence of millions of mountains and excavated the source of stars in the sky. Finally, they had smelted a precious chaos crystal to forge the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting. This item could be called an invincible weapon of the same generation. Now that the Han family had taken out the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting, it was to keep Su Yin in check. They believed that even with Su Yan's monstrous dermic powers, he would still be kept in check by the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting. Boom! In fact, Su Yan had already sensed the threat when the sun, moon, mountain, river painting sank that day. He wanted to use spatial contraction to leave this battlefield. However, once the sun, moon, mountain, river painting was unleashed, it would definitely lock onto a powerful enemy. Faced with all kinds of unfathomable pressure, Su Yan's speed dropped sharply. He was somewhat astonished as he looked up at the sky. It was a real arrangement of millions of mountains, faintly discernible in the chaos. Moreover, There were many stars in the universe revolving around the mountain, emitting a world-shaking fluctuation that pressured the various kings. This caused Su Yan's expression to change. This diagram was simply tailor-made for him. The power of this supreme treasure embryo was truly astonishing. When it smashed down, it was as if a million mountains and stars were crashing down. Facing this kind of suppression, who in the same generation could withstand it? Almost all experts below the divine king level would die with a single touch. I don't believe he can withstand it, the Han family's old grandmaster said coldly. He was full of confidence. In order to resist Su Yan, the Han family had paid a heavy price. Now, even the Sun Moon Mountain River Painting's foundation had been revealed. How could it not suppress Su Yan? Boom! It was as if the heavens were sinking, and also as if the sun and moon were sinking. In short, the heavenly phenomenon was heaven-defying. The instant it came crashing down, the bodies of over 100 peak experts were about to split apart. The strength of this secret treasure was enough to make people despair. The power of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting had already exceeded their understanding. It was also closely related to the strange gate. Now, the moment this picture fell, it was equivalent to millions of mountains and millions of suns and moons sinking together, sealing heaven, decimating earth, locking down Su Yan. Roar! Su Yan looked up at the sky and roared. His body was burning like an immortal furnace, releasing resplendent light. It was as if an emperor star had been released and awakened with boundless brilliance. The situation he was in was extremely dangerous. The sun, moon, river, and mountain painting had already fallen. The power it released made Su Yan's powerful body tremble. His flesh shell had caved in and was about to collapse. Blood was also spurting out his pores. This pressure was truly unprecedented. It restrained Su Yan and bound him between heaven and earth, making it extremely difficult for him to move. In fact, Su Yan's performance was already shocking enough. Such a powerful suppression force couldn't even injure Su Yan. It could only barely suppress him. It was enough to show that Su Yan's strength had reached an extreme level. It was as if Su Yan was carrying millions of mountains and the sun, moon, and stars in the sky that were about to fall. The peerless suppression made Su Yan's body rumble continuously. He would have exploded into blood if he wasn't strong enough. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and take action. The cultivator of the Han family who activated the sun, moon, mountain, and river painting shouted, "The time to suppress Su Yan has come. What are you waiting for? Ha ha! No matter how strong Su Yan is, he won't be able to escape being suppressed. Our clan has even activated the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. Su Yan, accept your fate. Hurry up and suppress Su Yan." The peak experts standing tall in all directions were overjoyed. They recovered at the same time and activated all kinds of divine weapons. They even evolved all kinds of divine abilities and secret techniques. All of them attacked Su Yan, who was being suppressed by the sun, moon, and river painting. Not good. Everyone's faces fell. Who could withstand this? Even if it was a divine king, they would definitely be beaten to death. Some people felt that this was shameful. Too shameless. Some people cursed. They can't defeat Su Yan, but they use supreme treasures to suppress him and then use human wave tactics to kill Su Yan. This is too shameful. Don't the Peak clans have any face left? Many people bitterly smiled. The Peak clans were indeed Peak clans. The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting was taken out just like that. Su Yan suddenly became stronger. Now, did he have any hope of surviving this calamity? Good, well done. If we can suppress Su Yan, your Han family will take the greatest credit. What a good sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. It's worthy of being called a rare, supreme treasure. Let's see how Su Yan will escape. The experts outside clapped their hands and laughed. As long as they could suppress Su Yan, they could interrogate him about the secrets of God Burial Mountain and obtain everything they wanted to know. Ha ha! The Han family's old grandmaster laughed. Was there any suspense? Su Yan was imprisoned under the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. He simply had no room to resist. He could only look on helplessly as the peak experts of the various clans surrounded and hunted him down. Originally, some of Su Yan's admirers were still holding on to some fantasies. But in the end, these fantasies were mercilessly shattered. That was because the peak experts of the various clans had already covered Su Yan and were attacking him. Blood splashed out on the spot, dyeing the void red and splashing onto the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. It's over. Su Yan's legend is about to come to an end. Many people spoke in a daze. Su Yan was completely finished. He was suppressed by the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting and couldn't kill his way out. Rumble. Blood constantly splashed out from his source. Many people saw Su Yan being beaten until he was coughing up blood. A great seal smashed into his back, causing cracks to appear on his spine and his back to cave in. There were even cold killing swords that pierced through Su Yan's chest. Waves of cold light burst out. If Su Yan's body wasn't so tough, these swords would have pierced through Su Yan. The killing light that filled the sky surged endlessly, constantly bombarding Su Yan's body. Su Yan roared angrily. His entire body was unrecognizable. His powerful body was really about to explode, and he was walking toward destruction and death. After all, the power of so many peak experts was attacking a single person. To be able to withstand a round of attacks and not die was already terrifying enough. Just how strong is his body? Many people were shocked. However, no matter how strong the body was, it would definitely not be able to withstand a few attacks before it would be seriously injured. Buzz. Su Yan's body that was about to be smashed into pieces glowed. The divine power of the great Tao surged within him as he broke free from the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting became more and more powerful. The earth veins and the alignment of the sun and moon contained a certain order and pattern. It flashed in Su Yan's eyes. The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting was indeed very powerful. However, no matter how powerful it was, it also contained the order of the mysterious array Tao. The key was that this treasure had yet to grow and evolve. Therefore, Su Yan could roughly see that and find a way to break it. Su Yan, go on your way obediently. The road to the Yellow Springs won't be too lonely. I'll burn more paper for you. The experts besieging Su Yan were all laughing angrily. The peak experts of various races continued to use their divine abilities and secret techniques to target Su Yan. This made Su Yan, who was silent in his deduction, extremely angry. His body was rippling with boundless fiendish aura. His originally weak body was erupting with terrifying light because he had swallowed a large amount of primal chaos treasured liquid. What's mine will be mine sooner or later. I'll kill you first and talk later. Su Yan's eyes blazed as he stared at them. His voice was like thunder, and his entire aura surged. Some of the sharp swords that had pierced his body were forced out. Su Yan's blood-stained hair danced wildly. Under the sudden suppression of the sun, moon, and stars, he also appeared exceptionally terrifying and full of a supreme sense of oppression. What are you doing? Immediately after, some people's faces changed in shock. They saw Su Yan stretch out his four limbs, shaking the mountains and stars in the sky to the point of rumbling. This caused everyone to be shocked. Just how strong was his divine power? Vast divine strength spread out. Su Yan seemed to be moving the entire world, causing the mountains in the sky to rumble. His momentum shook the heaven and earth. Not good. The old Grandmaster of the Han family stood up abruptly. His chest was heaving up and down violently, and his expression was gloomy. He discovered that he had overlooked a fatal problem. That was, Su Yan was the expert with the most control over the topography. The Grandmaster of the Han family's occult arts was definitely inferior to Su Yan in terms of mastery of the topography. Now, Su Yan had directly activated the power of the mountain range and destroyed most of the divine might of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. Moreover, under his control, the millions of mountains were reorganizing and opening up a path for Su Yan to survive. Suddenly, the sun, moon, and stars in the sky were about to fall. However, it was already extremely difficult to suppress Su Yin. His entire body was rippling with brilliant light as he forcibly opened up an invincible domain that belonged to him. What a terrifying Su Yin. He can even break through this killing trap. Just how strong is he? Everyone exclaimed. What kind of situation was this under the suppression of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting? However, Su Yin had forcefully split it apart and even forcefully opened up a domain, directly breaking the unique power of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. When Su Yan's tyrannical strength reached its peak and poured out, Su Yin seemed to have disappeared from the world and disappeared in the long river of time. That is, suddenly, the expressions of some of the experts who were joining forces to attack Su Yin changed. They seemed to have seen a mighty figure standing in a river of time and space, and that figure was looking down at them with the intention of making them submit. My Dao, seems to have disappeared. Could it be that my Dao has been eliminated? What is Su Yin doing? Their words were trembling because they discovered that a unique world was born. Their Dao dissipated, and all things were born. In the world, only Su Yin soared into the sky. He was like an ancient mountain, a celestial palace at the peak of the 9 heavens, containing a source of power that could shatter everything. It made them feel as if they had encountered a blow that could destroy the world. No. In the next moment, they cried out miserably. This was a kind of absolute power that couldn't be stopped. This was Su Yin waving his fist. The power of his fist was like a rainbow, surging like waves. It caused a great tremor in heaven and earth. Everything was penetrated and no longer existed. One after another, the top experts cried out miserably. Under Su Yan's peerless combat strength, they were all destroyed in body and soul. Not even ashes were left. Before they died, they couldn't figure out how Su Yin did it. How did he suppress the Tao? What was this? This was the initial fist. When the invincible secret technique in history exploded here, it was really enough to kill all enemies and punch all the kings in the world. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 9:27. Shadows appeared one after another. They were all the top experts of the various tribes. Now they were all sent flying. Everyone saw a bloody hole the size of a bowl on their chests. But when they saw it clearly, they found that the bodies of these top experts had exploded. Only the cultivators with strong mental power could sense that the aftershock of Su Yan's fist in their bodies was filled with the power to penetrate everything. It was surrounded by the primordial aura of all things and shattered their vitality. At the very least, the bodies of 6 top experts had been destroyed by Su Yin in an instant. They screamed miserably and died miserably. Su Yin stood under the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains as if he was carrying millions of mountains and stars. He still released a terrifying power that could sweep away all his peers, shocking everyone. How could this be? How did Su Yin do it? Someone's voice was trembling. How could something so ridiculous happen? The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting couldn't trap Su Yin at all. Instead, he stretched his body in the desperate situation and killed 6 top experts. Su Yan's ferocious aura filled the entire place, intimidating the enemies. What could they use to stop Su Yin? Only the big shots outside could see that Su Yin had changed the power of millions of mountains and destroyed most of the power of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to break free. This also pointed to a serious problem. Su Yan's cultivation of the mystic gates had reached a superb level. He destroyed the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting just like that. His mastery of the terrain chapter made the old grandmaster of the Han family gloomy. In fact, it was because the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting hadn't evolved into the domain it should have. If it was refined and its power transformed, Su Yin wouldn't be able to neutralize most of the power of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting with his current cultivation. But it was too late to say anything now. The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting obviously couldn't keep Su Yin in check. If he was allowed to continue killing, more than half of the top experts would die. Then, could this killing trap Su Yin? Don't panic. The sun, moon, river, and mountain painting is still suppressing him. Continue attacking. The Han family cultivator who wielded the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting angrily shouted at them. Although he had lost control over the essence of the millions of great mountains, the grand momentum of the heavens was still arranged and circulating. Countless cosmic celestial bodies were also revolving. These were real celestial bodies. A certain expert of the Han family had spent tens of thousands of years painstakingly gathering the essence of the sun and moon in the outer realms. They were arranged into the grand momentum of the heavens. Boom! The young experts of the Han family shook the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. Countless stars lit up, and their radiance reached the pinnacle. Streams of silver river energy began to converge, emitting waves of terrifying energy that swept through all directions. The great stars in the universe rotated, and the energy that flowed down suppressed Su Yan's corporeal body. His corporeal body staggered, and he looked like he was going to fall to the ground. Let's go. This scene caused the peak-level experts who were previously scared out of their wits to shout out. They were all Jia of the younger generation. Their battle strength was tyrannical, and they activated all kinds of great killing weapons as they rushed over. There were also dozens of divine abilities and secret techniques that were released. This was a super strong suppression. Heaven and earth were submerged in godly might. The crowd of heroes rushed over, and the space trembled and exploded. Countless rays of light began to converge on Su Yan. Kill! They roared hysterically and released their strongest battle strength. It was a shocking scene. These peak-level experts of the younger generation had truly gone mad. Their godly might gushed out without regard for their lives. They didn't believe that they couldn't defeat Su Yan. But reality was cruel. In this world where blur and destruction coexisted, when the 10,000 tribulations rushed towards Su Yan, all the peak-level experts who rushed into this area seemed to have weakened greatly. The powerful Tao power within their bodies disappeared without a trace. They were trembling and frightened. How could this be? Their cultivations seemed to have been weakened, and they seemed to have fallen into a unique space-time. In this world where the great Tao didn't exist, only the corporeal body reigned supreme. Not good, Run. Someone suddenly thought of something, and his scalp felt like it was going to explode. This was the legendary initial fist. Once it erupted, the great Tao would retreat, and the corporeal body would contend for supremacy. This was the strongest divine ability in history. Once a powerhouse with a corporeal body grasped it, they could reverse their battle strength and kill a supreme being. But weren't all of these divine abilities lost? How did Su Yan learn them? Get over here and accept your death. Under the suppression of the starry sky, Su Yan roared towards the heavens. His pores spat out beams of blood essence. His corporeal body that was enough to cover the heavens was completely ignited. In contrast, Su Yan was like a great demonic god overlooking the heavens and earth. Boom! He was decisive and courageous. His initial fist immediately exploded. Who could withstand the might of his fist? Immediately, someone's corporeal body was shattered. Before he died, he saw the scene of the primordial chaos. It was a fist that burst out, revealing the primordial power of all things. It pierced through his head and shattered his body. The initial fist was Su Yan's greatest divine ability. When this divine ability was unleashed here, it evolved into a world-shaking slaughter. In this world where destruction and blur coexisted, bloody light overflowed into the sky. One after another, the corporeal bodies of the top experts were shattered. A bunch of trash. The scene projected by the space-time mirror caused the expressions of the experts entrenched in the outside world to change. Their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. How could such a ridiculous thing happen under such a powerful suppression? How did Su Yan launch a counterattack under such suppression? This is an unfathomable secret technique. Zhu Yuanqing's expression was uncertain. Even the space-time mirror couldn't capture it. This meant that Su Yan had mastered an invincible secret technique. Did he obtain it from God Burial Mountain? After all, Su Yan's fame was too great. If he had mastered some evil secret technique, it would have been known by all the races. But there was no such thing. Everyone knew that Su Yin had mastered an invincible secret technique, the Big Dipper Fist. But now, the power he displayed was too terrifying. It caused the bodies of the top experts to deform, and they died in pain and despair. Some people wanted to shout out and tell the world that Su Yin had mastered the strongest divine ability in history. But it was useless. Under Su Yan's divine might, they were all beaten into a bloody mist. He is a demon. We can't fight him. Only the young Supremes can take action. Some people were scared out of their wits. How long had it been since the battle began? Even the sun and moon, rivers and mountains painting was brought out. But they still couldn't suppress Su Yin. On the contrary, dozens of top experts were killed. If this continued, would they still have a way out? They even thought that Su Yin would suffer heavy losses and fall into decline. But who knew that Su Yin would become more and more courageous as he fought? When they saw him swallow mouthfuls of chaotic treasure liquid, their faces turned green. No matter how rich they were, they couldn't compare to Madman Su, who had extorted a large sum of money from the Divine Firmament sect. Many top experts were terrified and didn't want to stay here. Su Yin didn't show any signs of decline. Instead, he became more courageous as he fought. If this continued, they would all die. Suppress him. Let me kill him. At the critical moment, a cold voice suddenly exploded. The shadow, who had been hiding in the darkness, suddenly attacked. He was like a ghost hiding in the darkness. The moment he fully awakened, the sky was split apart by a sword. On my neck! Many onlookers cried out. Their necks were about to be cut off. It was like a butcher's knife was hanging over their necks. This made people turn pale with fright. What kind of powerful killing weapon was this? The sword embryo was so bright that it overflowed into the sky. The sword radiance was so intense that it caused abnormal phenomena to overflow into the sky. The sky seemed to have been replaced by the sword radiance. Sky-severing sword. Someone's legs went soft, causing the people in the surroundings to cry out in alarm. The legendary sky-severing sword had appeared. Regardless of whether it was the sun, moon, mountain, river diagram or the sky-severing sword, they were all supreme treasures that could be said to be unrivaled in their generation. The sky-severing sword's name was already resounding enough. It was known as a peerless secret treasure that could even sever the sky. Su Yin, the ghost in the darkness, the genius of the previous generation of the ancestral hall, roared. He stared at Su Yin with a cruel expression. He waved the sky-severing sword in his hand and said coldly, "Your head is mine." Chi-Chi. This dazzling sword embryo released a sword radiance that was as vast as the sea. It was filled with the power to sever the heavens. The heads of all the experts were about to roll on the ground. It was difficult to imagine just how powerful its edge was. What a terrifying sword embryo. It is the sky-severing sword. Rumor has it that the sky-severing sword was at the level of a supreme expert's sacred weapon. It could sever the divine king's head like pulling weeds. In a very distant location, the experts who had followed the energy fluctuations here turned pale. They saw the sword radiance split open the sky and cause the stars in the sky to fall. This was like throwing dumplings into a pot. This sword had split open the starry sky. The great characters who occupied the outside world were all endlessly shocked. This was the sky-severing sword that contained the power to slaughter gods. It was a rare object that even the divine king's expression would change when talking about it. The experts from the ancestral hall sneered. The sky-severing sword was prepared for Su Yin. No matter how powerful his physical body and Tao were, he would still be struck by this sword. This was a situation where one would die upon contact. It was almost impossible to evade. Boom! The sun-moon-mountain-river diagram also resonated. It coordinated with the sky-severing sword's power to kill Su Yin. Kill him quickly. Su Yin is definitely not going to make it. The peak experts who had originally lost their fighting spirit roared and swooped down at the same time. Even the sky-severing sword had been brought out. Could it be that there was still any suspense in this battle? Suppress. Kill. The sun-moon-mountain-river diagram operated to the extreme. A sea of stars fell from the sky and covered Su Yin. It unleashed its most powerful suppressive force. The sky's severing sword was sharp to the extreme. This sword was about to tear apart tens of thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. It even reflected the bloody scene of countless heads falling to the ground. This world is too crazy. The three supreme treasure embryos have been brought out. They are really taking Su Yin seriously. Everyone cried out in alarm. They saw a scarlet rope as thick as a true dragon arrive in an instant. It coiled around Su Yan's body like an evil dragon coiling around him. There was no way to evade as it bound Su Yan's body. In order to kill Su Yan, all the peak races have brought out their trump cards. The sun, moon, mountain, river diagram, the sky, severing sword, the immortal binding rope. Many people trembled. Although they were all imitations, their power was known to be unrivaled in the same generation. It was indeed within the expectations of the Great Net dynasty. If they were determined to kill Su Yin, they would definitely be able to do it if they were willing to pay a high enough price. Chapter 928. The sea of stars shook, and the sun and moon were destroyed. It was truly a sea of stars. The sun, moon, and stars rotated. This was a young expert from the Han family. He seemed to have summoned a sea of stars, descending from the heavens and pressing down on Su Yin. Kiki, Su Yin, your time of death has come. Under the heaven-cleaving sword, your body and soul are destined to be destroyed. The specter that emerged from the darkness sneered. The heaven-cleaving sword had already reached the pinnacle of brilliance. This sword's edge was peerless. Even from far away, all living beings felt as if their heads were about to fall to the ground. It was called the heaven-cleaving sword. From this, one could see just how strong this secret treasure was. It turned out that this formation was already savage enough. However, no one had expected that the Dark Nether clan would be able to produce a replica of the immortal binding rope. Although it was only a replica, it was a replica of a supreme treasure that was powerful enough to bind a true dragon of the same generation. Three rare treasures, their brilliance overflowing the heavens. It could be said that three invincible kings had joined forces and were wildly chopping down on Su Yin. Kill! The vast territory trembled and collapsed. Dozens of peak experts used their strongest trump cards, wanting to decide the victor in one move. They didn't believe that Su Yin would be able to escape from such a powerful killing trap. Good. Su Yin's time is up. His time is up. The experts of the various clans in the ancestral hall who were entrenched in the outside world raised their heads and laughed. Was there any suspense? As long as they could cut off Su Yan's head and suppress his primordial spirit, they would be able to interrogate him about all the secrets of God Burial Mountain. Although they had to pay a price and lose face, it was all worth it. This matter concerned a life and death situation. It was worth it for them to lose face and join forces. It's over. The experts of the Marshall clan had gloomy expressions. They were all sighing. Who could break through such a powerful killing trap? At this moment, the immortal binding rope had already bound Su Yan's body. It was like a red dragon coiling around his body. The more fiercely Su Yan's body revolved, the more frightening the trap became. He really felt as if his body would be torn to pieces. Even the sea of stars fell from the sky, forming an apocalyptic killing formation. Of course, all of this was in coordination with the heaven-cleaving sword, directly cutting off Su Yan's head. Die. The dozens of top experts who were closing and were grinning hideously. They were like demons that had crawled out of hell. They were all looking at Su Yin with cruel and cold eyes. It was as if they could see the picture of his body riddled with holes. Boom. Everything became blurry. In this world filled with murderous aura, there were fluctuations that made people feel like their bodies were about to split apart. People even suspected that they could slaughter a true dragon. Within the world of destruction, a furious roar exploded. They couldn't see anything clearly, but they felt that this was the mournful roar of a generation's peak overlord before his death. They seemed to have seen the scene of a peak overlord withered away, destined to shock the world. One was a legend breaker, the other was madman Su who came down from God Burial Mountain. Could it be that he was really going to die here? Many people were still waiting for him to fight a glorious battle. Su Yin, how can you die? You must pull yourself together. We're still waiting for you to dominate the world and crush the kings of your generation. Many of his admirers roared angrily. Their eyes were red, feeling that it wasn't worth it for him. He should be fighting against a peak hero. Even if he really died in battle, he wouldn't feel unresigned. But if Su Yin were to walk towards the limits of his life, just like this, who would be willing? The three supreme treasure embryos covered the sky. This scene also suppressed the myriad races under the heavens until they were suffocating and trembling. So what if one was powerful? Even someone as powerful as Madman, Su was forced to join hands with the various peak races. They shamelessly brought out all kinds of great killing weapons in order to kill Su Yin. The great races within the ancestral hall were laughing loudly. Without a doubt, if they won this battle, their prestige would also increase. They didn't care about the world's evaluation of them, because in the boundless universe, only these races were eternally powerful. They had always stood at the peak without falling. Some disgraceful history, this didn't count for much. The 10th passageway was excessively quiet. There were too many spectators, too many to count. Apart from a few people who were laughing complacently, many people chose to remain silent. Su Yan's and seemed to be telling these geniuses not to go too far. The greatest opportunity in these primal chaos ruins belonged to the peak races. Ho! That terrifying roar sounded once more. It was like a blood-stained Overlord roaring through the primal chaos, wishing to slaughter his way through the great gate of life. No one knew what was happening inside. The radiance was too resplendent. Dozens of peak experts, in addition to the three supreme treasure embryos, worked together to create this dazzling radiance. No one could see the bloody events that were happening inside. Only those dozens of peak experts were actually trembling. This was completely different from the outside world's imagination. They had brought out three supreme treasure embryos and dozens of peak experts to fight with everything they had. Just how crazy was this? However, they did not expect that Su Yin was even crazier and scarier than them. When he pushed his own fighting strength to the peak, these people finally realized what it meant to be strong, what it meant to be invincible, and what it meant to be supreme among the same generation. Oh, 3 consecutive roars made Su Yan's battle blood burn and boil. A terrifying vision appeared behind him. A turbulent sea of primal chaos emerged, capable of splitting the heavens in 10 earths. The sea of stars that filled the sky trembled and came to a halt. The immortal binding rope was unparalleled in its power to bind Su Yan's precious body. But when his physical body was released, it was as if the immortal Tao's furnace of primal chaos was burning. The condensed primal chaos revealed an extremely heavy power. No matter how powerful a supreme treasure was, how could it compare to the primal chaos origin chi? Su Yan's body was extremely heavy. His precious body glowed, and great Tao runes gushed out. Sometimes they turned into a great halberd, sometimes a cauldron, sometimes a Tao bell, sometimes a sword embryo. His aura was ever-changing, and his physical body was terrifying to the extreme. The immortal binding rope was twisting and was about to be torn apart by Su Yan's terrifying physical body. What kind of peerless divine power was this? It made the top experts of the dark underworld race tremble. This was the immortal binding rope, but Su Yin wanted to tear it apart with his super strong physical body. It was like a true dragon binding Su Yin, but it was crushed by the peerless power released by Su Yan's precious body. Of course, all of this wasn't enough for Su Yin to break out of the situation. Kill! With a final roar, Su Yan's body exuded a terrifying and boundless spiritual will. It was as if an endless sea of corpses had appeared in the eyes of the world. It was a bloody and ferocious aura, a spiritual will that had experienced countless killings and bloodshed. The combination of the primordial spirit and Su Yan's ferocious aura was enough to frighten the top experts and give them a splitting headache. A touch of fear rose in their hearts. Impossible. Then, They were terrified because they found that this world seemed to have disappeared. However, the world that replaced it was like a small universe, intertwined with the light of thousands of Daos. In the process of the beginning of all things, everything in the universe was revealed. Domain, the spirit holding the heaven-slashing sword, was terrified, and his scalp was about to explode. This was the energy of a domain that only the Divine King could cultivate. However, what really frightened him was that Su Yan's domain was too special. It was like a complete and flawless small universe. How could something so ridiculous happen? Could it be that he had mastered all the Daos in the world? When this ancient heavenly art erupted, Su Yan's combat power was at its peak. Su Yan was extremely domineering. With a loud roar, the sky collapsed, and the stars in the sky were about to fall. The blood in the body of the top experts from all walks of life was churned by his roar, and they were about to kneel on the ground and tremble. If the immortal binding rope didn't have to continue suppressing Su Yan, this roar was enough to destroy the enemies. He had reversed the vague domain power, and this was an earth-shattering technique that could seal the sky and the earth. Boom! Loud explosions rang out one after another, and dense bloody light sprinkled down. Su Yan was truly terrifying to the extreme. This was his peak combat power, capable of moving millions of mountains and grasping the geography of the earth. It was as if he was commanding the world here, and his terror overflowed the heavens. The sun, moon, and stars in the sky shifted positions. The young expert of the Han family who wielded the sun-moon rivers and mountains painting coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Half of his body had caved in, and he cried out in fear. He wanted to know what kind of monster his Han family had provoked. Slash, slash, slash. The elder generation of the ancestral hall crazily slashed out with the heaven-slashing sword, one after another, becoming more and more resplendent and incisive. Make your move quickly. These top experts roared in succession. This was their final chance. If they couldn't suppress Su Yan, then they would all die here. Their hopes were still pinned on the immortal binding rope. This thing really wasn't that easy to break free from. Even if Su Yan could reverse his combat power and reveal the terrifying power of his domain, it would still be extremely difficult to tear apart the immortal binding rope. Although Su Yan had grasped the principles of the immortal binding rope's construction, this supreme treasure's Tao arts were too profound. Is it about to end? Outside, the experts all saw this. The sky was filled with blood. The top experts of various races joined forces to stimulate the energy source to resonate, and their divine power became even more shocking. The heaven-slashing sword was burning to the limit. Tens of millions of heaven-slashing sword beams rolled down. I could see the endless sword beams slashing down on Su Yan's body. Many people's voices were trembling. This was a real scene. That's right, Su Yan didn't dodge at all. He allowed these sword beams to slash down on his body. This was the power of the heaven-slashing sword, and each sword beam contained sword energy capable of exterminating all life. At this critical juncture, Su Yan moved around in this desperate situation, using the power of his domain to forcefully interfere with the sword beams. He frantically dodged. His speed was extremely frightening. This trip to God Burial Mountain had truly raised Su Yan's combat power to a new level. Clang! Clang! However, even more sword beams slashed down on the immortal binding rope. Small cracks began to appear on the rope. He's going to break the seal. The top expert of the Dark Nether race, who was controlling the immortal binding rope, screamed. He had completely lost control of the immortal binding rope. His words caused the young experts of various races to change their expressions greatly. Then, a terrifying, murderous aura instantly covered the entire area. Open for me, Su Yan roared angrily. His blood essence filled the sky and directly caused the immortal binding rope to explode. At this moment, Su Yan was bathed in blood. His blood-stained hair danced in the wind. He was like a great demon god who had swept through the world. Every move he made released a terrifying pressure. Kill! He roared and rushed into the crowd. wanting to kill everyone. Pooh! Groups of top experts were sent flying. They were simply unable to withstand the crazy Su Yin. Just the unparalleled power alone had already caused them to feel dizzy and their eyes to blur as they vomited blood. On the 30th, I wish everyone a happy new year. 9 Heaven's Divine Emperor. Chapter 9:29. Is the victor going to be decided? The 3 supreme treasure embryos are surrounding Su Yin. I'm afraid Su Yin won't be able to hold on for much longer. The spectators were all breathing heavily, their eyes fixed on the scene. The place where the energy storm converged really covered tens of thousands of violent waves overflowed into the sky, the momentum endless. Thick blood dyed the direction of the source red. Their hearts all trembled. It seemed like the victor had already been decided. Was Su Yin going to be suppressed? Or would some miracle really happen, reversing the battle situation? Like before, he would use his domineering methods to crush everything. Everyone waited patiently. Some of the old antique sighed. They didn't expect Su Yin's victory or defeat would actually draw so much attention. Today, Su Yin was truly the center of attention. Invincible. In that instant of brilliance, many people roared uncontrollably. They only felt a surge of hot blood, roaring uncontrollably. At this moment, their emotions were surging. They faced the scene of the source and roared. The invincible madman Su is still invincible. What hundreds of peak experts? What 3 supreme treasure embryos? He can crush them with a single punch, slaughter everyone present. The entire 10th passageway seemed to have sunk into a deathly silence. Everyone was dumbfounded. Even the experts of various races who were entrenched outside opened their eyes wide in shock, watching all of this with disbelief. They found it hard to believe. What kind of scene was this? The peak experts of various races were all sent flying. Their bodies trembled, flesh and blood splattered everywhere. They even let out miserable cries as they were sent flying far away. It was as if a magnificent army had been blasted away. The scene of the source was terrifying. A figure rose from the ground, roaring towards the sky. His blood-stained flesh blazed, shocking the world. How could this be? How could this be? This is impossible. Could it be that Su Yin has already stepped into the peak of the heavenly deity realm? The experts of various races in the ancestral hall roared in anger. The result was too different from what they imagined. They couldn't suppress Su Yin at all, and Su Yin even counterattacked at the limit, releasing his most ferocious combat strength, shattering the enemy's spirit and fighting spirit. This scene made them tremble. Their hair stood on end, goosebumps rising all over their bodies. The 3 supreme treasure embryos had joined hands, yet they still couldn't suppress Su Yin. Was it because their clansmen were too weak, or was it because the enemy they were facing was unprecedented, a hero that shocked the past and dazzling the present? Some people looked at the godly kings of these clans. They began to doubt their lives and didn't dare to believe what they were seeing. Su Yin, he's destined to be different. Someone sighed and said, a peak overlord is standing at the peak just like that, not weaker than any of the North Yao and the others. Some people wanted to say something, but in the end, they didn't. Some people felt that Su Yin might be even more terrifying than the Northern Demon and the others. Only existences like Zhu Tian and the children of the Forbidden Zone could fight against him. But it was too early to say anything now. Perhaps to Su Yin, his rise was only the beginning. After all, he was still some distance away from becoming the Divine King. He still had a long way to go to dominate the world. But his potential was enough for the various races to treat him seriously. This was a potential seed whose prestige wasn't inferior to the Divine King's. He was already standing in this domain. They couldn't look at him with the same eyes as before. How could this be? The old genius of the ancestral hall looked at Su Yin with trembling eyes. The heaven-cleaving sword was sharp to the extreme. Even the Divine King would be injured if struck. However, he felt that Su Yin's body was completely unharmed, as if he had not suffered any serious injuries. This gave the old genius of the ancestral hall a headache. Not only was Su Yin not injured, He had even managed to destroy the immortal binding rope. The immortal binding rope's strength lay in its unique strength. It could bind a person's body. The sky-chopping sword was exceptionally sharp. After all, it was extremely difficult for the immortal binding rope to trap Su Yan. In the end, at the moment when cracks appeared on the sky-chopping sword, Su Yan used his own terrifying strength to forcefully break the immortal binding rope. In the next moment, he felt a headache because Su Yan's eyes were staring at him. They were cruel and cold, causing great fear to rise in his heart. He turned around and fled. But no matter how fast he was, he couldn't escape Su Yan's lock. No matter how he ran, he remained in his original position. Su Yan walked step by step towards the old genius of the ancestral hall. Great success in shrinking earth to inches. How did you cultivate it? This is a peak great Tao profundity that only the divine king can touch upon. The old genius of the ancestral hall was increasingly terrified. He felt that it was very likely that he had disturbed Su Yan. Moreover, the strength of Su Yan's primordial spirit was even stronger than that of a peak heavenly god expert. Is there a need for a dead person to know so much? Su Yan arrived in front of him and sneered. Thank you for delivering me a treasure. This thing is not bad. I really need a great killing weapon right now. Bastard! The old genius of the ancestral hall roared in grief and indignation. He was about to step into the divine king's domain. If it weren't for the fact that he wanted to kill Su Yan, he would still be in seclusion in his family, trying to break through to the divine king realm. A future divine king was now incomparably ashamed and angry. But facing Su Yan, he couldn't summon the courage to fight him, even if he wielded a peerless weapon like the heaven-cleaving sword. Bam! Su Yan raised his foot and kicked forward. The old genius of the ancestral hall was inconsolable. He wanted to swing the heaven-cleaving sword to cut down, but he was powerless. This was a sign of despair. He had already accepted his fate. If he couldn't kill Su Yan before, he couldn't kill him now either. Crack! This stomp crushed his chest, infuriating the divine king of the ancestral hall. A future divine king and a peerless divine weapon like the heaven-cleaving sword had been sacrificed just like that. No matter how powerful their ancestral hall's foundation was, there were very few embryos of supreme treasures like the sky splitter sword. It was extremely difficult to find materials to refine the embryos of supreme treasures. Now it had helped Su Yan. Rip! Su Yan directly snatched the sky splitter sword and slashed forward, cutting off the head of the old genius from the ancestral hall. A strange light flashed in his eyes. The heaven-cleaving sword was truly incomparably powerful. Its attack power was peerless. With a gentle wave, it could cut through the void. Just how powerful was this power? What kind of precious treasure was refined into this sword? The aura of the heavenly refining furnace? Then, Su Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. He caught the fluctuations of the heavenly refining furnace from the heaven-cleaving sword. Finally, he understood that this weapon was refined from the heavenly refining furnace. Using a supreme treasure to refine a weapon was too frightening. No wonder the heaven-cleaving sword's reputation was so great. Of course, what Su Yan truly valued was the Han family's sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. This was the main show. The heaven-cleaving sword was absolutely incomparable to the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. This treasure was extremely important to the occult gate. If it was refined, its power would definitely soar. Clang! Su Yan's fingertip flicked the sword's body. The heaven-cleaving sword trembled and emitted a sharp and ear-piercing sound that reverberated in the field. It was like a demonic sound that came from hell, causing the peak experts from various races to tremble. The formation was broken, and the heaven-cleaving sword fell into Su Yan's hands. They were terrified and didn't dare to stay any longer. They crawled up and ran as far as they could. They didn't want to provoke this madman anymore. The situation had become one-sided. The three supreme treasure embryos couldn't suppress Su Yan, let alone these peak experts who had lost their will to fight. At this moment, they only wanted to run for their lives. Since you've come, don't leave. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a bone-chilling killing intent. The sword embryo in his hand began to emit light. The heaven-cleaving sword was awakening. It possessed a peerless sharpness as it cut through the sky. The terrifying black crack penetrated through the vast territory and was filled with an aura that could slash apart gods and devils. No, a peak expert who had fled 10,000 li was terrified. He didn't even see what was attacking him before he saw his head leave his body. This was just too sharp and tyrannical. Wielding this great killing weapon made Su Yin raise his head towards the sky and laugh heartily. He attacked all the peak experts in the disorderly mountains and rivers. The heaven-cleaving sword was also brandished by him. Tens of thousands of sword radiances gushed out. This territory directly formed a terrifying Great Rift Valley. Terrifying abnormal phenomena were born. This sword disturbed the mountains and rivers within 100,000 li. The sword radiance hacked down on the land, destroying heaven and earth. After a short period of light, blood dyed the shattered sky red. Heads flew through the air one after another, and all the experts who were struck trembled in despair. This is the real heaven-cleaving sword. This supreme treasure can only be displayed by an outstanding talent like Su Yin. It's like a pearl covered in dust in the hands of others. Many people were trembling. This sex sword embryo was too fierce. It targeted all the peak experts and made it impossible for them to evade. Once they were struck, their heads would immediately fall to the ground. The heaven-cleaving sword's power is actually so strong. Su Yin is truly like a tiger that has grown wings. The ancestral hall also suffered a great loss. The heaven-cleaving sword was seized by Su Yin. It's the same as giving Su Yin a great killing weapon. It's really losing both the wife and the soldiers. Although they knew that Su Yin had a big iron staff, the sharpness of the big iron staff was inevitably inferior to the heaven-cleaving sword. Now, that Su Yin wielded the heaven-cleaving sword, there was nothing it couldn't destroy. He killed until a river of blood flowed. One after another, famous peak experts were also killed by Su Yin as if he was pulling weeds. He killed 1 in 10 steps. Who could escape from his place? No one could escape from this destructive field. Su Yin swept through all 8 desolations and 10 earths. He used iron-blooded methods to kill all the peak experts who were fleeing in panic. In the end, he chased down a young expert from the Han family. Su Yin, you demon, sooner or later, you will pay with your life. This person was trembling with fear. He pointed at Su Yin with a trembling finger. Too many people had died. Those who came were the elites of the elites. However, Su Yin had destroyed the entire scene. He used the heaven-cleaving sword to harvest people's lives here. He was like a demon king overlooking the world. He was filled with a bloodthirsty and domineering aura. Su Yin would never show mercy to his enemies. He coldly stared at him and said, "If you want to leave, then so be it. You even took away my treasure. I had no choice but to chase you for 100,000 miles to kill you. I hate you." He miserably howled. He wanted to smash the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains, painting into pieces. Unfortunately, his head had already left his body. This sword embryo was trembling on its own. It wasn't stained with blood and emitted a heaven-cleaving power. It was truly powerful to the extreme. Everyone present was suffocating. The bloody light that filled the sky had yet to disperse. The vault of heaven was dark red and rippled with peerless killing intent. In this chaotic world, there was only one person standing between heaven and earth, overlooking all heroes. Chapter 9:30. The bloody world was too quiet. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on Su Yan's body, illuminating him like a blood-colored god of war. He stood between heaven and earth, appearing supreme. The onlookers were suffocating, finding it difficult to look at Su Yin. From the start of the battle until now, a short half a day had passed. Hundreds of top experts have been killed by Su Yin, and hundreds of thousands of miles of mountains and rivers have been reduced to ruins. They found it hard to believe that this was done by Madman Su, who had only risen up a few decades ago. Su Yin is fully deserving of the title of God of War. Many people were terrified from the bottom of their hearts, feeling that he was ridiculously strong. After all, for a declining clan to reach this step without strong support was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The scene in the space-time mirror caused the outside world to be in chaos. Some people were silent, some were discussing, and some had ugly expressions. In short, Su Yan's combat strength had completely shocked them. Without a doubt, Su Yan was stronger than before. Then, what kind of opportunity did he obtain on God Burial Mountain? Why did Su Yan's combat strength undergo such a shocking transformation? Even if he could use such a domineering method to break open the situation, it was enough to show how strong Su Yan was now. Originally, the various clans thought that Su Yan's combat strength would decline after cultivating to the heavenly god domain. The result was completely different from what they had imagined. Su Yan was stronger than before. What kind of origin energy did he fuse with? This matter was something that the experts of various clans wanted to find out. Of course, if they knew that the current Su Yan was still in the 8th heaven of the divine spirit realm, who knew what they would think? Of course, the reason was that Su Yan's physical body was tyrannical enough. In the future, when he stepped into the heavenly god domain, his physical body would not improve too much. After all, even the strongest person had a limit. Tell Zhu Tian to return. He must kill Su Yan and cut off his path. Inform the North Demon that Su Yan has already left God Burial Mountain. If we don't kill him, where will the demon region's dignity be? If I don't kill this person, I won't be at ease. The 2P clans were enraged. They had put aside their pride and brought out 3 embryos of supreme treasures. Even the Han family had created a huge formation. Yet, they still couldn't kill Su Yan. On the contrary, he had also obtained 2 embryos of supreme treasures. The contrast was too great. The cruel reality was hard for them to accept. They wouldn't be satisfied if they didn't kill Su Yan. They were even worried that he would become the divine king in the future, which would make it even harder to kill him. Su Yan's potential is incredible. He's a descendant of the Buried Realm clan. His bloodline power is extraordinary. The experts of the Dark Nether race conversed with each other in a gloomy tone. These days, the Dark Nether race rarely made any big moves and kept a low profile. The world didn't even know who the strongest leader of the Dark Nether race was, nor did they know who the Starfield Supremacy was. Don't worry about him. Let him be. An ancestor of the Dark Nether race said coldly, "The young masters of our race don't have the time to care about Su Yan. Even if Su Yan can jump around, he's destined to be a foil in the upcoming era. Even if he has the supreme physique, he's destined to be a lowly person in the future. The greater the talent, the more tragic it is." They were talking about an extremely important matter. They couldn't calm down. The Dark Nether race also had peerless talents. They didn't care about Su Yan or how strong he was. They knew that even if Su Yan could be heaven-defying in the future, he would still be a tragedy in the upcoming era. That's right. The young masters of our race don't have the time to care about him. Let him jump around first. A grand elder of the Dark Nether race sneered. However, the Ancestral Hall hasn't given up on Su Yan. Without the Vice Sect Master's order, the Ancestral Hall wouldn't have spent so much effort on Su Yan. What is the Ancestral Hall doing? At this point, the faces of all the important figures of the Dark Nether race changed. With the Ancestral Hall's current status and Zhu Tian's potential, there was no need to waste so much time on Su Yan. But why did the Ancestral Hall's ancient ancestor want to capture Su Yan alive? Could it be their expressions changed and they didn't dare to say anything? If it was really related to those people, then the things Su Yan was involved in were too terrifying. This wasn't something they could speculate about. I feel that we could take action and suppress Su Yan. We can dig out what secrets he is hiding. Who knows, it might be of help to our clan. Someone spoke. His entire body was filled with dense, energy, as if he was a corpse sleeping in the depths of hell. No, a being with dried-up hair frowned and said, "This is a serious matter. Our race doesn't need to interfere and provoke the Ancestral Hall." They spoke casually, as if suppressing Su Yan was just a matter of words. After all, they did have a certain amount of power in the Chaos Ruins. They could seal off all areas and cut off Su Yan's path. Moreover, we can't contact our race's young lord at all. Someone else spoke. This made the group of dark nether race leaders solemnly talk about their race's young lord. If they were talking about their master, the divine king, it was like a group of slaves working for him. This was a little scary. How could a young man have such great magic power? Let him be. In the end, they all laughed. When a fruit is ripe, I think our young lord will cut the grass. Cut the grass. If Su Yan's prestige was terrifying enough, they could really cut him down and obtain endless power. They could even increase Su Yan's current status. The Dark Nether race didn't care, but the races of the Ancestral Hall cared too much. They had lost too much face. They didn't expect Su Yan to use such a method to break the situation. They were furious. They must let their young lord kill his way back and cut off Su Yan's path to invincibility. The people of the Divine Firmament sect didn't say anything. They had some doubts about their race's King Flash. King Flash had been recuperating for a long time. It had been almost a year. Although there was improvement, it was different from what they had expected. During this time, King Flash had been in the Divine Firmament sect and didn't come out. He also didn't mention going to the Chaos Ruins. Was he afraid? Or was he continuing to consolidate and accumulate power? In any case, the experts of the Divine Firmament sect couldn't say anything about King Flash. They could only wait for him to stand up again. Something's not right. Zhu Yuanqing's face darkened. He saw Su Yan, who was originally full of momentum, stagger. Blood kept flowing out his mouth. Su Yan's aura, which was originally strong and unflagging, suddenly weakened by a lot. His face was pale, and blood began to spurt out of his body. Su Yan instantly became a bloody man. He looked very miserable. What's going on? Su Yan is seriously injured? The people around were shocked. What's going on? Why did Su Yan's injuries suddenly become so serious? There was no problem at all before. Now, Su Yan was paralyzed on the ground. It seemed like it was extremely difficult for him to stand up. He panted heavily and absorbed the essence of heaven and earth in silence. Su Yan is seriously injured. His divine power seems to have dried up. Someone's eyes flashed with a strange light as he stared at Su Yan. He was somewhat tempted. That was because the sky, cleaving sword, and the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting were placed in front of Su Yan. If they could snatch these two supreme treasure embryos and sell them at an auction, they would definitely fetch an unimaginable price. Now that Su Yan was seriously injured and the two supreme treasure embryos were in front of him, many people were tempted. They could choose not to provoke Su Yan, but couldn't they take these two things away? Don't forget the lesson from before. Someone suddenly said. It was like a bucket of cold water poured over their heads, waking them up. Some people even slapped themselves in the face. What were they thinking? They wanted to snatch food from the tiger's mouth from a demon king who had just killed over 100 peak experts of various races. Snatch the two supreme treasure embryos? Some people even thought back to when Su Yan fought the North Yao in the Primal Chaos Channel. He pretended to be seriously injured, but in the end he was completely fine. He even crawled up and slaughtered a large group of people. That event was still fresh in many people's minds. Even if Su Yan really was struggling on the verge of death, the surrounding onlookers were so intimidated that they didn't dare approach him. What kind of vicious might was this? It left the older generation experts speechless. He was already injured to this extent, but no one dared to target Su Yan. This was just too ridiculously powerful. He possessed a supreme, vicious might. He really is seriously injured. Some sharp-eyed alchemists muttered in their hearts as they passed by. However, they didn't dare utter a word. They didn't dare mention Su Yan's situation. Even if they did, they feared that no one would dare to provoke Su Yan. Even if Su Yan was seriously injured, didn't he have any other methods to deal with it? Although Su Yan's body only had a few wounds, many of his skin had been cut open. It was just that Su Yan had sealed the cut skin. Su Yan had really suffered a serious injury this time. The damage caused by the light, immortal binding rope was terrifying. When it had bound Su Yan's body, it had created a destructive pressure within his body. Of course, the heaven-cleaving sword had left behind the most serious injuries on Su Yan's body. He had used the heaven-cleaving sword to chop at the immortal binding rope. But there were also many sword lights that he couldn't avoid. These sword lights were forcefully suppressed by Su Yan's body. Now, it was extremely difficult for him to control them. He felt as if his entire body was about to explode. You guys are very good. You actually injured me to this extent. Su Yan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were cold. He had almost suffered a calamity. Fortunately, Su Yan was strong enough. Otherwise, his life would have been threatened. His internal injuries were extremely serious. Fortunately, God Burial Mountain had tempered his body to the point that it was indestructible. Otherwise, Su Yan's body would have really fallen apart. This battle also made Su Yan vigilant. There were always some terrifying items and supreme treasures in this world. If they went crazy and brought out 10 different supreme treasure embryos, would he be able to endure it? There was no need to doubt the foundation of a peak clan. No matter how strong a person was, when faced with some evil supreme treasures, they would most likely die with a grievance. My injuries are too serious. The heaven-cleaving sword is really fierce. Fortunately, I took it away. What a pity that the immortal binding rope was blown to pieces. However, the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting and the heaven-cleaving sword were two supreme treasure embryos. This injury was worth it. Ha ha ha. Su Yan was still laughing. His injuries were serious, but it wasn't to the point where Su Yan was on his deathbed. He directly swallowed a few hundred drops of chaos treasure liquid to heal his injuries. He didn't lack resources. His injuries could be healed with the chaos treasure liquid. At the same time, Su Yan crawled up with lightning speed. He didn't want to waste any more time. He had to make a move as soon as possible. His eyes were fixed on the 10th Chaos Divine Mountain. Since Zhu Tian hadn't arrived, it meant that they had already left the Chaos Passageway. If I don't beat you guys up, you won't know my surname, Su Yan. Today, I will let you guys remember this day for all eternity. Su Yan's eyes revealed a ferocious glint. He was prepared to go all out and attack the Chaos Divine Mountains one by one. He was going to intercept the harvest on the Chaos Divine Mountains. 9 Heavens Divine Sovereign. Chapter 9:31. He really was faking it. He wasn't injured at all. But Su Yan is already such a character. He's too cunning. Someone was speechless. What the hell does this have to do with cunning? Who knows? He might be able to lure out some enemies and kill them all. I have to say, Su Yan is truly tyrannical. Even the 3 supreme treasure embryos couldn't injure him. Now, he can actually crawl up and fight again. This place immediately erupted. The cultivators who had evil thoughts all felt their hair stand on end. This demon king wasn't someone they could deal with. This was because only those invincible kings of the same generation could keep Su Yan in check. Some people were suspicious. Su Yan's injuries were clearly very serious. They muttered in their hearts. Perhaps Su Yan is really worried that someone won't be able to control themselves and will try to kill him. That's why he forcefully suppressed his injuries and crawled up to escape. Your guess is correct. I think Su Yan is also worried that the North Demon and the others will suddenly come back. After all, with Su Yan's current situation, he can't take too much trouble. Fortunately, there aren't any experts from their races here. Otherwise, they would have seen Su Yan's injuries. At that time, it would definitely be another fierce battle. Some old experts were discussing. They didn't leak out Su Yan's situation. Leaking it out wouldn't benefit them. Moreover, they didn't want Su Yan to fall. They hoped that he could stand up and really change the situation of the peak races in the Primal Chaos ruins. Su Yan's existence is enough to intimidate some races. I hope it will still be like this in the future. In some small circles, some old antiques were excitedly discussing. Su Yan's current prestige is truly terrifying. According to our race's history, Su Yan washed the 10 great primal chaos passages with blood. At the same time, he attracted the experts from the ancestral hall to chase after him. This has greatly reduced the pressure on our younger generation. The resources we obtained are much more than before. That's right. My race has also done some statistics. I really didn't expect that Su Yan's appearance would cause such a terrifying effect. In fact, his existence has already reversed some of the general trends of the universe. For a young man to affect the harvest of our race, that is enough to defy the heavens. Su Yin is a terrifying deterrent. If he were to say that he wasn't at God-burying mountain these past 2 years and was instead in the 10 chaos channels, our races would have benefited even more. That makes sense. I wonder if, in the future, when we compete for the universe's secret region in the chaos ruins, the peak races will have their eyes on Su Yin. Will they be able to reduce the pressure on our races and benefit from it? The leaders of these small circles were the rulers of powerful races in the universe. As they conversed and discussed, their hearts were filled with shock. It had to be said that Su Yan's influence was too great. If Su Yan were to attack the primal chaos divine mountain, his gains would be even greater. Someone said with hatred, for generations, it was the peak races that dominated the chaos godly mountain. No matter how strong our races are, we are no match for the peak races. I'm afraid that's impossible. The chaos godly mountain's fortunes haven't been exhausted. These are the lifeblood of the peak races. If Su Yan were to touch this fat piece of meat, he would be hunted down endlessly. These people talked about the world. As for their statistics, the peak races didn't care too much. They didn't lack these resources. The only thing they cared about was the fortunes of places like the chaos godly mountain, and even the gains from the universe's secret regions in the future. What they lacked were the wonders of the world. For example, the Tao tree that had surfaced now. According to the information from the chaos ruins, it was said that it was in a killing frenzy. Too many young overlords had come, and they were killing each other for the Tao tree. However, some people had seen some clues, and very few people wanted to kill it. After all, every young overlord represented an ancient sect. Each of them represented an ancient orthodoxy. If he really cut off their hopes, these pinnacle heroes would most likely not be able to get away scot-free either. In short, the struggle for the Tao tree was still ongoing. No one knew who would get it in the end. If someone were to speak up, they reckoned that no one would get it. In the end, someone would definitely stand out to mediate. Similar incidents had happened many times before. In this universe's secret realm where killing intent swept across the sky, the earth shook and the mountains shook. This day wasn't calm at all. Terrifying demonic aura permeated 100,000 li. A Qilin appeared behind the northern demon, and its roar shook the sun, moon, and stars. Its aura reached the peak in a short period of time, and a doomsday heavenly I was about to open. The peak overlord has gone mad. Is he determined to get it? Many heavenly deities were shocked. Their bodies trembled, and they were about to be torn apart by the aura gushing out from the northern demon's body. They were truly frightened. The northern demon's potential was truly terrifying. He had fused with the Qilin's origin energy. Another vast and boundless aura awakened, shaking the heavens and the earth. The mysterious Zhu Tian suddenly soared into the sky. As if he was bathing in the power of the 9 heavens, his body uncontrollably released strands of terrifying heavenly might. Zhu Tian was mysterious and powerful. His foundation was unfathomable. No one knew how strong the Dao Zhu Tian was. Now, under his rage, the heavens and earth shook. As his aura leaked out, it was as if 10,000 worlds were born in the firmament. It suppressed everyone, causing them to tremble. There were also people who were shocked. Could it be that a struggle for supremacy was about to erupt? However, beyond everyone's expectations, the Northern Demon and Zhu Tian left the universe's secret realm at the same time. This caused the experts who were fighting for the Great Tao Tree to be shocked. What was going on? Why did they suddenly leave? Actually, when Su Yin returned from the God Burial Mountain, there were already people who went to inform them. Who wouldn't be jealous of the opportunities in the God Burial Mountain? The Supremes were no exception. Now, they were rushing back to fight for the opportunities. Later on, there were also people who received the news. They were instantly shocked. Someone had broken through the danger zone and seemed to have obtained a heaven-defying opportunity. Damn it! Why didn't you report the news earlier? What are you all doing? Zhu Tian and the Northern Demon have already been gone for half a day. If we go now, I'm afraid it's too late. That might not be the case. Su Yin is very strong. Even the sagely battle god couldn't do anything to him. Their subordinates reminded softly. Bullshit, if it wasn't for the situation in the God Burial Mountain, how could Brother Xingtian be defeated? An overlord of the same generation said coldly. His name was Wang Jie, and he was also a peerless genius from the Dao Palace. The power behind him wasn't small either. Brother Wang Jie is right. What kind of expert is the sagely battle god? How could he be suppressed by Su Yin? Someone at the side agreed. Umph. The man called Wang Jie sneered. What right does a rising star from the ruins have to stand on the same level as us? Every generation has been controlled by us. What does it have to do with a trash race? This sentence of his offended many people. However, the young overlords with weaker backgrounds didn't dare to say anything. In fact, what they said was the cruel truth. The pinnacle races were like emperors who controlled the world. The northern demon and the rest were like princes. In the past, it was these people who obtained the greatest opportunities and opportunities. Wang Jie would even exclude others. I've heard about the sagely battle god. Another person stood out. He wore a golden robe and had a noble aura. He said sarcastically, "Who is the ruler of the primal chaos ruins? Is there need to say it? If Su Yin dares to show his face here and act so insolently, kill him immediately. There's no need to talk nonsense." Ha ha ha. Zhu Yongjie, you're right. Kill him yourself. Why waste your breath on him? Isn't he just a rising star from Trash Race? What's it to care about? Wang Jie laughed loudly. His words were like a large bell, shaking the souls of the surrounding people. Many people were shocked. His powerful divine spirit energy was close to the divine king's domain. Some young experts with weaker backgrounds sighed in their hearts. Regardless of whether it was Wang Jie or Zhu Yongjie, they were both young overlords with reputations. This Wang Jie was said to be the personal disciple of an old antique from the Dao Palace. Zhu Yongjie was the descendant of Zhu Yuanqing from the Sky Bamboo lineage. His background was extremely noble, and he could easily become relatives with almighty experts. In an era where almighty experts looked down on the world, those who could become relatives with almighty experts, if they weren't princes, who could they be? The primal chaos ruins was naturally an environment where the strong preyed on the weak. Although the suppression within the primal chaos ruins had dispersed and the era of the younger generation had arrived, there were times when one couldn't disrespect the strong. However, as this matter concerned God Burial Mountain, many young kings left. This was an opportunity in a danger zone. Who didn't want to go and take a look? They also want to go and fight for it. Within the vast primal chaos ruins, there was a storm. Because of a person who had returned from God Burial Mountain, it began to release a torrential undercurrent. It was about to completely surface. Big news. Experts are constantly turning around in the primal chaos ruins and heading towards the primal chaos channel. News constantly came from all over the primal chaos ruins. This was because young overlords with overflowing prestige were constantly returning. A storm even more ferocious than the Dao tree struggle was about to brew. As for the bloody incident that occurred at the 10th Primal Chaos Channel, news had yet to spread. From the beginning of the incident until now, only 2 days had passed. During these 2 days, Su Yin had already approached the 10th Primal Chaos Channel. Although he had hurried for 2 days, Su Yin's injuries had mostly healed. The greatest price he had paid was that he had used over 300 drops of Primal Chaos liquid. Although I have a huge amount of wealth, the Primal Chaos liquid isn't endless. I really have to use it sparingly in the future. Su Yin muttered in his heart. His eyes were fixed on the 10th Primal Chaos Divine Mountain. His eyes were filled with anticipation. He hoped that this mountain would allow him to return with a bountiful harvest. This Primal Chaos Divine Mountain had been occupied by the Ancestral Hall from the beginning until now. On the mountain, although a large number of young seed from the Ancestral Hall had rushed into the Primal Chaos ruins, there were still many experts guarding the mountain. Some were even excavating some resources and treasures. After such a long time, there were still some resources that hadn't been completely excavated. It was hard to imagine how much wealth the mountain had produced. I think Lord Zhu Tian will be back soon. I really hope he comes quickly. Su Yin shouldn't have left the Primal Chaos channel yet. If he wants to leave the channel, he has to pass through the Primal Chaos Divine Mountain. Pay close attention to the surroundings. Su Yin is definitely still in the 10th Primal Chaos channel. We can't let him escape. On the Primal Chaos Divine Mountain, a group of experts from the Ancestral Hall had gathered. At the same time, they urged some servants to quickly excavate the resources so that they could transport them back to the Ancestral Hall. Do you guys think Su Yin will climb the mountain? Someone suddenly asked. The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. The scene was a little strange. Su Yin wanted to barge into the 10th Primal Chaos Divine Mountain. This was something that they had not expected. Many of them suddenly felt a little panicked. If Su Yin really came, would they be able to withstand it? He dares. An extremely old man sneered. If he comes, I will let him die without a burial ground. This Primal Chaos Divine Mountain is our Ancestral Hall's resource mystic realm. There are killing arrays arranged in it. Once we attack, we will definitely be able to suppress Su Yin. This old man was very confident. This killing array could draw on a portion of the Primal Chaos Divine Mountain's power. It was extremely difficult to attack. However, just as he finished speaking, his heart was filled with fear. All the hair on his body stood on end. Who? He roared with a trembling voice. At the same time, he saw a shadow standing at the foot of the 10th Primal Chaos Divine Mountain. When he saw this person's face clearly, the old man's face changed drastically. Su Yin actually dared to come. Su Yin carried the sky, cleaving sword on his back, and the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting in his hand. He had already started to climb the mountain. Chapter 9:32. The 10th Chaotic Divine Mountain had gathered a group of experts from the Ancestral Hall. There was also a chief elder overseeing this resource secret realm. Although more than half of the secret realm's resources had been extracted, the remaining resources were still exceptionally valuable. But today, killing intent pervaded the entire mountain, causing everyone from the Ancestral Hall to feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. They were all astonished when they saw the source of the killing intent. That figure was climbing the mountain with large strides, causing an uproar. It's Su Yin. Everyone was terrified. They never imagined that Su Yin, who had just experienced a bloody battle, would barge into the 10th Chaotic Channel. What was he trying to do? Could it be that he was going to attack the 10th Chaotic Divine Mountain? This made them all panic, and their hair stood on end. How could Madman Su, who had killed over 100 experts, calm him down? All of them felt a headache coming on. They wanted to tell him to leave quickly because Zhu Tian was coming. What are you panicking for? The chief elder from the Ancestral Hall stood up and rebuked with a sullen face. A bunch of ignorant fools. Isn't it just one, Su Yin? Can this little vial spawn overturn the heavens? Release the array immediately and force him down the mountain. Tell him clearly to wait for our clan's Zhu Tian to come. Without a doubt, this elder had great prestige and instantly became their backbone. Many of the Ancestral Hall's experts stared at Su Yin with sinister eyes and roared, "Release the array and force Su Yin back. Our clan's resource secret realm isn't something he can barge into." Boom! In an instant, rays of light interweaved on the peak of the 10th Chaotic Divine Mountain. They were resplendent and blazing, sprinkling down bursts of radiance. This was the scene released by the array. The brief radiance caused the ocean-like primal chaos energy to boil. At this moment, the 10th Chaotic Divine Mountain seemed to have been revived. Above the mountain peak, lightning and thunder rumbled as the primal chaos spread out. It was as if the sky was opening as a waterfall of primal chaos poured down. It contained the power to suppress heaven and earth and filled the entire place. Don't be anxious. He still needs a few more days to climb the mountain. Let's wait here. The chief elder from the Ancestral Hall saw the might of the killing array and became even calmer. He said in a cold voice, "Perhaps our clan's Zhu Tian will be here before he gets close to the mountain peak." This Su Yin is really courting death. This sentence caused them to agree. The pressure of the chaotic divine mountain was extremely strong, and it was not easy to climb up. The process might take a few days or even longer. Su Yin, haha, is it very tiring to climb a mountain? The elder of the ancestral hall sat cross-legged on the peak of the chaos divine mountain. He was calm and dignified. He looked down at Su Yin and sneered. You were lucky enough to not die last time. Why are you attacking our ancestral hall's resource secret realms now? I think your head must have been kicked by a donkey. Don't think too highly of yourself. How can the secret realm of our clan's resources be something you can easily touch? Elder, some ancestral hall experts wanted to say something but hesitated. They all felt that the Grand Elder had gone mad. Wasn't he afraid that Su Yin would climb up and chop him up? In short, they didn't dare to use such words to provoke Su Yin. Wasn't the lesson from before enough? In fact, the ancestral hall Grand Elder had said this to infuriate Su Yin. He wanted him to ascend the mountain and waste time here. The ancestral hall Grand Elder felt that Su Yin didn't know that Zhu Tian had already begun to return. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of cold light. He suddenly pulled out the sword embryo on his back. Buzz! The dazzling sword embryo was bright and resplendent. The sword chi was so terrifying that it could easily cut through the void. Bastard! This scene infuriated the Grand Elder. This was their ancestral hall's divine weapon, the Sky Splitter sword that was refined using the Heaven Refining Furnace. It was peerless and sharp to the extreme. Now, it was in the hands of Su Yin and was even used as a weapon to attack the chaotic divine mountain. Clang, clang. Su Yin's fingertip tapped on the sword. The Sky Splitter sword vibrated on its own. The sharp sound seemed to cut through the entire sky and reverberated throughout the entire chaotic divine mountain. Many people's primordial spirits were on the verge of shattering. What are you being arrogant for? Climb the mountain if you have the ability. The Grand Elder roared. He felt that Su Yin was demonstrating his power here. One had to admit that this was very uncomfortable. This was clearly their ancestral hall's divine weapon, but now it was in the hands of Su Yin. Even though Su Yin was provoking them like this, they didn't dare to descend the mountain. This was too sullen. The sword was still vibrating and surging with sword radiance. Its momentum was even more terrifying. It was filled with the power to split the sky and split the sea. At this moment, Su Yin seemed incomparably tall. The experts of the Ancestral Hall suddenly saw a terrifying figure crowding the entire chaotic divine mountain. It was so surging that they trembled and wanted to kowtow. Boom! The entire chaotic divine mountain was boiling. The sword energy was like a river of stars flowing in reverse. Overflowing sword radiance was released, accompanied by the sea of essence blood that erupted from Su Yan's body. It pierced through the heavens. Many people were frightened and alarmed. Someone asked the Grand Elder, "He can't be climbing up directly, right?" Impossible. Without experiencing the test of the chaotic divine mountain, how could Su Yin climb it so easily? The Grand Elder directly denied. He was still able to maintain his composure and wasn't frightened by Su Yan's explosive aura. However, just as he finished speaking, his expression changed greatly again. His finger was trembling as he pointed at Su Yin. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the figure covered in murderous light pierced through the sky and charged towards the chaotic divine mountain. The pressure of the chaotic divine mountain was nothing in front of Su Yin. It was as if it didn't exist at all. What? The experts of the Ancestral Hall turned pale and their eyes widened. Their faces were full of disbelief. How could this be? How could Su Yin ignore the pressure of the chaotic divine mountain? Unless he had been here before. No matter how strong the pressure of the chaotic divine mountain was, how could it compare to the pressure of the buried God mountain? Su Yin completely ignored the pressure of the chaotic divine mountain. His aura was incomparably powerful. Boom! The earth in all directions trembled as if a sudden clap of thunder had exploded. Su Yin soared into the sky. A huge crack appeared in the void, and a path to the peak of the mountain appeared. Moreover, Su Yan's aura was leaking out. The great Tao divine power that gushed up had already intimidated the great killing array arranged on the mountain peak to rumble continuously. The heavenly marks of the great Tao that filled the sky showed signs of collapsing. Stop him! Many cultivators of the ancestral hall were frightened. Their faces turned green. They thought that would take a few days, but who knew that Su Yin would rush up directly? He can't come up. Suppress him. The Grand Elder of the ancestral hall was in charge of the protective array arranged on the peak of the mountain. When it was awakened, it shone brightly. The heavenly marks of the great Tao burned brightly. Boundless chaotic waves surged within. The momentum was boundless and shook the heavens and the earth. Many cultivators in the distance were shocked. They all looked at the 10th chaotic divine mountain. The protective array on the chaotic divine mountain is activated. They were all shocked one after another. This killing formation was ridiculously powerful, and the movement it produced was exceptionally great. Even the stars in the sky were rustling and trembling. When that ocean-like chaotic storm erupted, it seemed as if it could sweep down a galaxy. Is the ancestral hall facing a strong enemy? Why did the array suddenly activate? They were all shocked. They all rushed over, wanting to see what was happening on the chaotic divine mountain. The reason why the protective array was so strong was related to the unique cultivation environment of the chaotic divine mountain. Once the array was awakened, the chaotic aura would surge. When it fell, it was like a chaotic galaxy descending from the sky, covering the entire land. One had to admit that the killing array was extremely strong. It was actually a set of array discs taken out by the ancestral hall to create a cultivation place for Zhu Tian. Although Zhu Tian had only cultivated here for a year, it was already extravagant enough. Now that the killing array was activated, its strength was naturally shocking. The Grand Elder of the ancestral hall slapped his thigh and laughed. Good, good, good. The protective array has been nourished for many years. It's strong enough to suppress Su Yin. You want to block my path with a broken array? Open. A cold voice was transmitted, followed by the awakening of a sword ray that reached the sky. Su Yin brandished the sky-cleaving sword and began to slash forward. The moment the sword ray appeared, it shattered the void for thousands of miles. It was filled with the power to slash the heavens. With just one slash, Su Yin had awakened the sky-cleaving sword to its ultimate domain. This slash surged with a soaring sword intent. It was like the Milky Way flowing against the 9 heavens. In the distance, they all watched in disbelief as this slash split open the chaos and attacked the protective array. With Su Yan's cultivation, he directly caught the weak spot of the protective array. This slash was extremely sharp and cold. It split open a corner of the protective array. Not good. Everyone in the ancestral hall was terrified. The protective array was split open with just one slash. They were truly in despair. Su Yin directly climbed to the peak of the chaotic divine mountain. His figure was majestic. He held the sky-cleaving sword and said coldly, "Today, I'm here to take your lives and take a look at my harvest. Su Yin, you're too arrogant. Zhu Tian will be here soon. Know your place and scram." On the peak of the mountain, the experts of the ancestral hall were at a loss. Su Yin had already reached the peak of the 10th chaotic divine mountain. Everyone could feel the terrifying sword qi spreading out from his body. Zhu Tian will die even if he comes. Su Yan's words were like a bell that exploded on the peak of the 10th chaotic divine mountain. The originally shattered array began to fall apart. The experts of the ancestral hall directly fell to the ground and trembled. They only felt that their bodies were about to collapse. They were extremely terrified. This demon king had climbed up the mountain. Who could stop him? Boom! Su Yin fiercely brandished the sky-cleaving sword, revealing a might that could split the sky. Slash! He roared. His blood-stained hair danced as he began a massacre here. The world of sword radiance seemed to have been dyed red by blood. This was a tragic event that happened in a single exchange. The 10th chaotic divine mountain was dyed in blood. Even gods and devils would have to nurse a grievance if they came. You demon! The ancestral hall doyen was terrified. In a single exchange, it was as if a supreme demon lord had suppressed the entire chaotic divine mountain. Even someone as strong as him was trembling and his legs went soft. Was this the strength of a peak overlord who had killed over 100 peak experts and survived the God Burial Mountain? He was trembling in fear and despair. Who could stop Su Yin? Moreover, he was wielding the sky-cleaving sword, a great killing weapon of the sect. Before the surging sword radiance arrived, the Doyen only felt that his body was being torn apart. This was completely a purgatory world. Heads flew into the sky one after another. This was a shiny sword embryo that cut through the void and beheaded the enemies. Su Yin was slaughtering here, sacrificing the experts here. This chaotic divine mountain didn't have any expert from the ancestral hall overseeing it. Su Yin was using a skillful method. He brandished the sky-cleaving sword and slaughtered in all directions. You all want to kill me. Today, I will flatten your resource secret realms. Let's see who is afraid of whom. Su Yin's angry laughter rang out. He brandished the sky-cleaving sword wildly. The 10th chaotic divine mountain was like a purgatory on earth. Corpses and blood flew everywhere as sword chi rampaged. Chapter 9:33. I wonder who is attacking the 10th chaos divine mountain. Their methods are so tyrannical. This is one of the strongest resource secret realms occupied by the ancestral hall. Yes, it must be a ruthless person. At the peak of the 10th chaotic divine mountain, the sword energy was vast and boundless. The world had already been completely covered by the sword radiance, but there was still a bloody radiance within. Many heads flew into the sky, indicating that this was going to be a bitter battle. They didn't know what had happened. In short, the 10th chaos divine mountain was stained with blood. They seemed to see a supreme overlord washing the 10th chaos channel with blood. This was the ancestral hall's resource secret realm. Who would dare to start a massacre here? After all, it was a chaos divine mountain. But now, someone was washing it with blood. Was he going to kill all the creatures on the chaos divine mountain? Do you think it could be someone recalled something, speaking these words that made everyone nearby shiver? This was quite possible because right now, there was a vicious person in the 10th primal chaos passage. If this ruthless person didn't leave, it was very likely that he would attack the 10th chaos divine mountain by force. They felt that the possibility was very high. The sword light that filled the sky was resplendent and blazing, filled with the fluctuations of slaughtering gods. This was somewhat similar to the sword energy of the sky-cleaving sword. This made the onlookers tremble. They cried out in alarm. Big news! Madman Su is attacking and wants to destroy the 10th chaos divine mountain. This revenge is too fast. Good. Su Yin should have done this long ago. The ancestral hall occupied the chaos divine mountain and didn't even allow outside cultivators to come close. Once they came close, they would be killed. I hate them to the core. Someone shouted angrily. Madman Su is attacking with force. He will definitely be able to wash the 10th chaos divine mountain with blood and kill them all. That's right. The ancestral hall is in trouble. Zhu Tian and the rest have left long ago. There are no experts on the Chaos Divine Mountain. They sent over 100 top experts to kill Su Yin, but they were all killed by Su Yin. You don't know at that time, but the mountain ranges were sunk. Madman Su is getting stronger and stronger. Now that Su Yin is attacking the Chaos Divine Mountain, it's definitely for revenge. Just wait and see. The Ancestral Hall is in trouble. They were very clear that when Su Yin was in seclusion at the God Burial Mountain, the number of experts in the Chaos Channel was very limited. Su Yin was strong enough to walk through the channels. No one could do anything to him. At the peak of the 10th Chaotic Divine Mountain, sword lights surged like a myriad of shooting stars descending from the sky, and they rippled with surging waves of air as they slashed apart the bodies of numerous Ancestral Hall cultivators. Blood rained down from the sky. Su Yin was like a blood-colored demon that had walked out of hell. He held the sky-cleaving sword and killed one person with each step. He was completely washing the peak of the chaotic divine mountain with blood. Demon Hall of the Ancestral Hall. Even though the Ancestral Hall had suffered heavy losses because of Su Yin, and even half-step supreme experts had died at his hands, it was different this time. Su Yin took the initiative to attack the Ancestral Hall's precious resource, Mystic Realm. This was the Primal Chaos Ruins, an era where young people contended for supremacy. However, Su Yin had slaughtered everyone and was about to destroy the 10th Primal Chaos Sacred Mountain. Those who were still alive were terrified and in despair. Some people even left behind regrets. Su Yin, just you wait. Lord Zhu Tian is about to arrive. If you do this, you will definitely die without a burial ground. Ha ha! I, Su Yin, am not afraid of the world's experts. If you want to kill me, then come. With a loud roar, the world trembled and the sun and moon lost their light. Su Yin stepped on the earth, filled with a monstrous aura. He could erupt with a peerless strength that could overturn rivers and seas. He bombarded the fleeing experts in front of him, destroying their bodies and souls. The sky was filled with sanguine light. Sword beams were everywhere. Su Yin rampaged through the peak of the Chaos Divine Mountain. As he spat out, the remnant chaos heavenly essence energy in the world penetrated Su Yan's body. His treasure body was hazy with the primordial power of all things. As he breathed, his chest rumbled like the sea. He inhaled again and again, each breath more ferocious than the last. At the final juncture, Su Yan's might covered the sky. This breath caused the vast space to undulate as the remnant chaos, heavenly essence, energy gathered. Devour! Su Yan raised his head and roared into the sky. His clothes fluttered, and his blood-stained hair scattered down. It was as though he had swallowed a primal chaos sun. The force of his spitting was astonishing. At the critical moment when it entered his body, Su Yan's treasure body became resplendent. His pores couldn't stop primal chaos essence from leaking out. Without a doubt, such a cultivation method was too extravagant. No one would waste chaos heavenly essence energy like this. However, Su Yin didn't have the time to cultivate here and slowly absorb and refine it. Now, he was using tyrannical means to devour large amounts of chaos heavenly essence energy and forcefully refining it with the Primordial Sutra. With every breath, Su Yan's aura became stronger. He was already injured to begin with. Now, under the nourishment of the massive amount of chaos heavenly essence energy, he recovered at a freakish speed. Even the vast great Tao divine powers in Su Yan's body were enhanced. After all, Su Yin was still a distance away from the ninth firmament. Now, under the nourishment of the massive amount of chaos heavenly essence energy, his aura increased greatly. It even showed signs of surging towards the ninth firmament. It won't be long. I'll take down a few more chaos divine mountains. There's hope for the ninth firmament. Su Yin laughed loudly. His voice shook the heavens and earth. Then, his cold eyes swept across the group of trembling servants. These were servants who were excavating resources for the Ancestral Hall. There were about 100 cultivators. Su Yan's devouring of energy and his soaring aura made them even more terrified. A large number of cultivators fell to their knees. Someone said in a trembling voice, "Lord Su Yin, I'm not from the Ancestral Hall. I was suppressed by them a year ago to excavate resources for the Ancestral Hall." "That's right, we're God Su Yin. I'm not from the Ancestral Hall either. Lord Su Yin, please show mercy and let us go." They begged for mercy and revealed their origins. Their hearts were filled with fear. They were really worried that Su Yin would go crazy and kill them. The scene of Su Yin massacring the 10th Chaos Divine Mountain had truly frightened them. Su Yan's aura spread out, causing these people to tremble. He said indifferently, "Why aren't the people of the Ancestral Hall dead yet? What are you hiding in there for?" His voice was like thunder, causing the blood in these cultivators' bodies to churn. They couldn't help but tremble. They were really facing a great demon king. Their bodies were about to collapse at any time. However, under this peerless might, no one responded to him. Only endless silence was waiting for him. "Seems like you're all from the Ancestral Hall." At this moment, a strand of bone-piercing, killing intent spread out. Su Yin waved the sky, cleaving sword. This killing sword could cut through the void with just a light wave. How could it not make people shiver? Everyone felt that their heads were about to fall to the ground. He's for the ancestral hall. Someone suddenly climbed up and pointed at an old man in a luxurious robe. He said in a fierce voice, "He's also the steward of the ancestral hall. He's even the steward of Zu Tian." You! This submissive old man immediately exploded in anger. He didn't expect that someone would point him out. One had to know this was related to Zu Tian. Actually, Su Yin had long seen through it. This old fellow's strength, to be precise, should be at the 9th firmament celestial deity realm. Although he concealed his cultivation, he absolutely could not hide from Su Yan's powerful mind power. That's right, it's this old thing. He usually dealt quite a few vicious blows to us. Motherf asterisk her, you old fart. Aren't you just Zu Tian's lackey? What are you being cocky for? Why aren't you kneeling down and kowtowing when you see Lord Su Yin? More and more cultivators stood up and pointed at him, cursing angrily. And there were people who continued to point out other cultivators. There were men and women. Including this old thing, there were a total of 6 people. They were all servants by Zu Tian's side. And this 9th firmament celestial deity old powerhouse was one of Zu Tian's stewards. It could also be said that his position was high and powerful. After all, he was a popular person by Zu Tian's side. Rumble. In that instant of light, the ancestral hall's steward's aura erupted fully. He was a 9th firmament celestial deity, mighty expert. His aura impacted until the void was riddled with holes. Furthermore, his body rapidly blurred, vanishing from where he was in extremely fast speed, striding down the mountain. Bang! Su Yin raised his palm and threw a large slap over. Steward Zu Tian, who had already fled several hundred miles, let out a miserable cry. The bones in his body all shattered, and he fell to the ground with a thud, falling out like a dog eating mud on the spot. This place was in chaos. The instant steward Zu Tian fled, the remaining servants also fled in all directions. But there was no need for Su Yin to make a move at all. These servants, suppressed by the ancestral hall, took action one after another, capturing all of them alive and beating them up in groups. These few days, they had been humiliated by these people quite a bit. Their hearts had long been stifled with anger. Now, new grudges and old grudges were all released to vent, beating the 5 great servants until they cried for their parents, their limbs almost being torn apart. As for Su Yin, he appeared in front of Steward Zu Tian, lowered his head, and looked down at him, saying coldly, "You still want to take away my things?" Su Yin. Steward Zu Tian's face was so malevolent that it was about to distort. He looked at Su Yin with venomous eyes and growled, "You've already caused great trouble. If you still dare to have designs on the Chaos Divine Mountain's resources, Lord Zu Tian will definitely tear you into pieces." Ah! Su Yin exerted force with his foot, stomping on Steward Zu Tian until he screamed miserably. So what if he was a 9th firmament celestial god expert? He couldn't even raise his head in front of Su Yin. He roared in despair. "Just you wait for death. Lord Zu Tian is the future king of the universe. Just you wait for death." Su Yin couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He directly swung the heaven-cleaving sword and chopped off his head. At the same time, Su Yin's powerful primordial spirit fluctuation enveloped the remnant body. Soon, he found 3 interspatial rings. Inside were all kinds of harvests from the Chaos Divine Mountain. Although the previous ones were all sent back to the ancestral hall, the resources in these 3 interspatial rings were definitely not less than the total value of tens of thousands of kilograms of chaos treasure liquid. After doing all this, Su Yin disappeared. He was prepared to attack the 9th Chaos Divine Mountain. A group of trembling cultivators from various races took a deep breath. They didn't dare to stay any longer and quickly left the blood-stained Chaos Divine Mountain. In just a day's time, a piece of news spread out as if it had grown wings. It caused an uproar among the various races. Big news. Su Yin made a move and washed the 10th Chaos Divine Mountain in blood. He crippled all the cultivators in the Ancestral Hall's resource mystic realm and killed everyone. What? Su Yin washed the 10th chaos divine mountain in blood. Is this true? He dares to do this? This matter caused a huge earthquake. This was a bloody event. A bloodbath on the chaos divine mountain was something that had never happened before. But now, the 10th chaos divine mountain was being washed in blood. Su Yan's crazy revenge made the experts of various races tremble in fear. It was said that revenge was a dish best served cold, but Su Yan didn't delay for a moment and directly made a move. This lunatic, he's a lunatic. When the light of the void mirror shone on the 10th chaos divine mountain, the experts of the ancestral hall roared crazily. This was a great humiliation. Their chaos divine mountain was being washed in blood by Su Yan. Chapter 9:34. Su Yan's tyrannical rupture had caused a huge uproar by massacring the 10th chaos divine mountain. No one had expected that Su Yan would be so decisive and overbearing, directly bathing the 10th chaos divine mountain in blood. After all, it was a resource land belonging to the ancestral hall. This time, Su Yan had taken the initiative to attack and annihilate the 10th chaos divine mountain. Not a single person was left alive. This was a serious problem. Even Su Yan had swept away the chaos divine mountain's resources. This news was shocking. Who would dare do such a thing in the past? After all, the chaos ruins were a place where the universe's fortunes converged. Now, Su Yan had forcefully broken some kind of rule. In the future, there might really be people who would dare to imitate him. The 10th chaos divine mountain has really been massacred. Not a single person is left alive. Su Yan is too unyielding. Back then, he had pierced through the 10 chaos passageways and picked the resource lands in the periphery of the various races. At first, the peak races probably didn't care, but they never expected that Su Yan would have the guts to attack the chaos divine mountain. Yes, revenge came too quickly. I guess the ancestral hall's heart is bleeding. I think the resources on the chaos divine mountain are at least 5,000 kilograms of chaos liquid. Not to mention tens of thousands of kilograms. Even 5,000 kilograms of primal chaos liquid was a huge amount of wealth. Not only did Su Yan annihilate everyone on the primal chaos divine mountain, but he also swept away a large amount of resources and wealth. This made the ruler of the ancestral hall furious. Roar. There were people roaring in the outside world. The sky was torn apart as the divine king's aura surged and suppressed the stars. The divine king of the ancestral hall was so angry that his eyes were about to split open. Su Yan's actions were equivalent to humiliating the entire ancestral hall. A young man actually had the guts to do so and was even chased by the ancestral hall for such a long time. But now the tables had turned. Su Yan had become a hunter. Bastard. Faintly, a terrifying half-step expert's aura was awakening. The ancestral hall definitely had more than one Zhu Fu. There were bound to be other half-step experts. This matter infuriated all the quasi-giants. They said ruthlessly, if we don't eliminate Su Yan, where will our race's dignity be? Tell Zhu Tian to return immediately and kill Su Yan. He has already returned. Zhu Tian should be on his way, but the journey is long. I'm afraid it will take him a few more days to return. Someone smiled wryly and said, I hope Su Yan is still in the primal chaos channel when the time comes. If he takes advantage of the situation and leaves, that would be terrible. The experts of the ancestral hall were incomparably embarrassed and furious, but they couldn't do anything to Su Yan. Must the strongest expert of the ancestral hall take action? I'm afraid Su Yan has already left. He knows how serious this is. After all, this concerns God Burial Mountain. An unrelated expert said, there's a path from the chaotic divine mountain to the chaotic ruins. Due to the suppression of the universe mystic realm, it's impossible to use treasures to explore the world. This way, we won't be able to lock onto Su Yan's tracks. The experts of the Divine Firmament sect all had gloomy expressions. Once they lost control of Su Yan, there would be trouble. Who knew if he would attack the more important universe mystic realm? That was their lifeblood. If a universe mystic realm was breached, the problem would be quite serious. Of course, there were very few cultivators who knew the location of the universe mystic realm. Of course, even if Su Yin really went there, it would be extremely difficult for him to sweep through a universe mystic realm. That universe mystic realm contained the elites of their race. God Burial Mountain is more important. The people of the demon territory thought of this and were extremely anxious. Their goal was God Burial Mountain. It didn't matter if they lost some. As long as they could dig out the secrets of the land of despair, any price would be worth it. Don't you think that Su Yin will attack the other chaotic divine mountains? Suddenly, Luo Yuanzheng of the Daoyuo dynasty said with a smile. His voice contained a strange magical power, causing the surrounding atmosphere to become extremely oppressive in a short period of time. The big shot's breathing was extremely heavy, especially the experts of the Divine Firmament sect. Their expressions changed drastically. Although King Flash and the Sagely Battle God had joined forces to occupy the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain back then, the Sagely Battle God had left previously. The current owner of the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain was the Divine Firmament sect. However, King Flash had been severely injured and had returned to the Divine Firmament sect. A large number of the Divine Firmament sect's elites had gathered on the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain. If Su Yin really attacked the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain, it would be a big problem. F***CK. Leishan's face turned green. Did Su Yin really dare to go to the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain? But he even dared to provoke the Ancestral Hall, let alone the Divine Firmament sect. It won't be so fast. Someone frowned and said, even if Su Yin grew wings, he won't be able to fly to the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain. Haha, Su Yin is a master of mystical arts. It's easy for him to set up a realm-crossing array. Moreover, the Divine Firmament sect had a space array on the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain back then. It seems that Su Yin has used it before. This sentence made everyone in the Divine Firmament sect anxious. When Zhu Yuanqing took out the space-time mirror and shone it on the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain, all of their faces turned green. Lei Zhenhe couldn't hold it in and directly spat out a mouthful of old blood. He let out a crazy roar. You bastards! The group of Divine Firmament sect experts' faces stiffened. They were so angry that their hearts and lungs were about to burst. Long ago, Lei Zhenhe had said not to provoke Su Yin anymore. He was a Maleficent star. If they didn't kill him, he would definitely cause trouble again. In the end, they didn't listen and wanted to join forces with the Ancestral Hall to kill Su Yin to avenge their previous humiliation. Now great. In fact, the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain had already rippled out. Half a day ago, in the depths of the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain, all kinds of terrifying killing lights tore through the earth. Even the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain was shaken by the attacks. Su Yin climbed the mountain domineeringly, pushing all the way from the foot of the mountain to the peak. Many people had witnessed it. An invincible king had gone against the heavens and swept through the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain. Relying on his own strength, he had forcefully bathed the 9th Chaotic Divine Mountain in blood. Even now, no one could forget how domineering and powerful that terrifying Overlord was. In just half a day, Su Yin defeated everyone in the Divine Firmament sect, took away all the resources, and continued to attack the next target. Su Yin, Su Yin. The Divine Firmament sect's divine king couldn't help but roar. You shameless brat. You attacked the Divine Firmament sect's divine mountain while our young paragon was not around. You are too shameless and hateful. What kind of young overlord are you? Someone glanced at the person who spoke and shook his head with a smile. It was as if King Flash could suppress Su Yin when he returned. This lunatic has washed 2 chaotic divine mountains in succession. If he continues like this, is he going to wash the 10 chaotic divine mountains with blood? When the chaos ruins opened, he washed the periphery with blood. Now, he's going to wash the core region with blood. Many people had a headache. If this lunatic couldn't be killed, there would definitely be countless troubles in the future. For example, the Kuan family's young king Kuan had died, and there was no successor. Elder Yuanqing, quickly take a look at the 8th chaotic divine mountain and see if that lunatic Su Yin has also washed it with blood. Someone hurriedly reminded. The moment Zhu Yuanqing made his move, Luo Yuanzhang sneered. The 8th chaotic sacred mountain is the territory of the Great Luo dynasty. Su Yin is not so crazy as to attack the Great Luo dynasty's chaotic sacred mountain. Although that was what he said, when Zhu Yuanqing shone his light over, the scene was really heart-wrenching. Some experts from the Ancestral Hall and the Divine Firmament sect clutched their hearts, feeling suffocated and uncomfortable. The 8th chaotic divine mountain was intact, but their own chaotic divine mountain was overflowing with blood and corpses. They had suffered heavy losses. Oh no, a northern demon expert was shocked. That meant that Su Yan's next target should be the 3rd Chaos Tunnel. He hurriedly sent his subordinates to inform the experts guarding the 3rd Chaos Tunnel. Be on guard against Su Yan. Don't be on guard. Su Yan is already here. When Zhu Yuanqing shone his space-time mirror on the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain, their faces turned green. How could Su Yan be so fast? How'd he do it? He had reached the greater success stage of shrinking Earth into an inch, and his mental strength was superb. Su Yin used the power of his primordial spirit alone to cover a radius of 100,000 miles to search for traces of the space-time array. He had already found the space-time array that led to the demon region. He directly controlled the space-time array and crossed rivers and mountains. In less than half a day, he had already arrived at the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain. When he arrived, he exuded a murderous intent and even a bloody aura. On the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain, the experts from the various demon region who were in seclusion were trembling in fear. They felt that a great disaster was imminent. At the top of the sky, there seemed to be a heavenly eye looking down at them, making them panic and tremble. What's going on? Who's nearby? Come out quickly. All the living beings from the demon region had a headache, and fear appeared in their eyes. It was as if a great creature was looking down at the chaotic divine mountain, making them shiver all over. A terrifying expert was lurking nearby. There was even a faintly discernible, terrifying essence blood steaming like a furnace of heaven and earth. It made all the living beings within 10,000 miles panic, as if there was a large stone pressing down on their hearts. The sky is about to change. Among the mountains and valleys, the roars of beasts reverberated. It was as if they were emitting a sense of reverence towards the figure that was leaking out his aura. In the end, this aura suddenly became blazing like an immortal furnace burning. This madman is here. He's here again. This familiar scene struck fear into the hearts of many living beings. Boom! There was also an earth-shattering explosion. Everyone saw clearly that it was a figure who stood up and stomped on the ground, causing the territory to collapse and earth to rise into the sky. That figure also rose from the ground and rushed towards the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain like an emperor star. Along the way, Su Yan's body stuck close to the Chaotic Divine Mountain as he rushed madly. Just the light of essence blood spurting out from his pores had already cut the bodies of many living beings from the demon region. Along the way, rivers of blood flowed, and groups of demons screamed as they died in despair. Finally, Su Yin rushed to the peak. He waved his hand, and he was like an emperor who controlled the universe. Millions of mountains lined up, and all kinds of suns, moons, and stars revolved around the mountain. Boom! A condensed ancient universe was blasted out. It was extremely heavy and suppressed the entire peak of the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain. Su Yin looked down at all the living beings on the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain. His hands were behind his back, and the surging aura of blood energy emitted a terrifying pressure. From a new year until now, I've had almost no time to write because I'm getting married the day after tomorrow. There are more things to do, and there are also many rules in my hometown. After the wedding, Azure Sky will make up for all the chapters that I haven't updated during this period. After I'm done, Azure Sky will make up for 20 chapters. Brothers, after I'm done, I'll get back to work as soon as possible. I still need a few days to finish, so please give me some time. Chapter 9:35. At the peak of the 3rd Chaos Divine Mountain, tens of thousands of demons were terrified. Many huge, beasts began to tremble, and the entire mountain was filled with roars of fear. Actually, before they could figure out who was attacking the peak of the chaos divine mountain with such a domineering method, they were all trembling. They were all trembling. What exactly happened? Could it be that the northern Yao provoked a supreme being in the primal chaos ruins? Su Yin stood between heaven and earth with his hands behind his back, looking down at the world. The sun, moon, river, and mountain painting was at the peak of the sky, spinning rapidly. At that moment, millions of mountains were about to fall, and the sun, moon, and stars in the sky were rumbling. The sound of thunder from the 9 heavens exploded in the ears of all living beings, making them feel as if their bodies were struck by lightning. What kind of ferocious might was this? How tyrannical! The third channel was shocked. How could something so ridiculous happen? Who was attacking the third chaos divine mountain? Were they not afraid of the northern demon's revenge? Who are you? One of the northern demons stepped out. He had a human face and a snake body, and he said in fear, "Our northern demons went to the chaos ruins to fight. This is his territory." As soon as these words were spoken, Su Yan's sharp eyes widened. They vaguely transformed into 2 golden lightning bolts. His eyes were blazing. The moment they opened and closed, the golden lightning bolts danced between the heavens and the earth. In an instant, the body that had spoken was split apart. Roar! The demons roared, and their hearts were filled with fear. This person was not afraid of the northern demons at all. He must be an enemy of the northern demons. However, he was emitting killing intent. It was very difficult for anyone to recognize Su Yan's appearance. His divine eyes were like lightning, and his might could shock the sun and moon. Even the heavenly god realm creatures of the monster domain found it extremely difficult to look at Su Yan directly. Under his gaze, the group of monsters was about to walk towards destruction and death. Who are you? The strong cultivators of the North Monster Tribe roared furiously. No matter what, they were still under the command of the North Monster Tribe. They were going to become the leader of the North Monster Tribe. They weren't afraid of the Forbidden Zones. They weren't afraid of any overlords. You broke the rules and attacked us. Aren't you afraid that the Yao clan will target your clan? Even if this person left the mountain right now, the Fiend Domain's face would be greatly damaged, and the Northern Fiends would also lose face. Ha ha ha! Su Yin faced the sky and roared with laughter. His voice was like thunder as it shook the heaven and earth. His might flourished even more as he bathed in the divine light of the 9 heavens. With the heaven-cleaving sword on his back, his laughter reverberated throughout the peak of the 3rd chaotic divine mountain. For a time, the heavens and the earth shook. Su Yan's laughter contained the sound of thunder, and it revealed a ferocious and domineering force that shook many demon territory cultivators to the point of coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Moreover, as Su Yan's laughter became louder and louder, it caused the mountain to roar. The golden ripples were endless. Just by relying on the powerful divine power of the great path in his body, the golden ripples that gushed out were like a mountain ridge pressing down on this place. Pooh! Groups of living beings from the Yao domain screamed miserably. Some of them even had their fleshly bodies torn apart. The 3rd chaotic divine mountain was in complete chaos. Many demon territory cultivators were in despair. Just how powerful was this person? He was definitely a heavenly supreme, and he was invincible among those of his generation. You're bullying the weak. What kind of hero are you? A living being roared angrily. Our race also has a heavenly supreme, and there are also invincible living beings. If we fall in your hands, the northern fiends will not let you off. What? You sent people to kill me before. Why don't you recognize me now? Do you really think that I'm easy to bully? So what if the northern fiends are here? Do you think I'm afraid of them? Su Yin laughed loudly. His shoulder-length black hair danced in the wind, and his demonic aura was strong. The aura he exuded was rather cold and domineering. Since he had come, Su Yin did not intend to return empty-handed. The group of demons felt a headache coming on, and the ferocious beasts were trembling in fear. They had never expected that this person would be Su Yin. This was something they had never expected. Su Yin actually dared to attack the chaotic divine mountain and even rushed to the peak. Dozens of living beings immediately turned and ran as far as they could. They knew very well that once Su Yin came, he would definitely massacre the chaotic divine mountain. There would definitely be a bloodbath at the peak of the chaotic divine mountain. At that time, none of them would be able to survive. Boom! Su Yin did not make a move at all. The sun, moon, river, and mountain painting that was pressing down here rumbled. The vast sky seemed to be on the verge of being pressed down. A terrifying mountain smashed down, killing a huge, ferocious bird. There were also stars descending from the sky. In an instant, they traversed thousands of miles. The impact waves that spread out from the light had already shattered the fleshly bodies of several demon territory cultivators who were fleeing. The demons were terrified and scared to death. Who could escape? With the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting here, who could escape? Su Yin, the old grandmaster of the Han family, stooped his body. At this moment, he was so angry that his whole body was trembling. The sun, moon, river, and mountain painting was the embryonic form of the supreme treasure of the Han family. Now that it was shining in Su Yan's hands, who could bear this matter? Moreover, the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting was not a big deal. The key was that the Great Way painting was also taken away by Su Yin. That was the painstaking work of an 8th grade great-grandmaster. It was the most precious treasure of the Han family. If we don't kill this person, how can our family establish itself in the chaotic ruins? What will our face be? The eyes of the old grandmaster of the Han family were filled with killing intent. However, Su Yin had been in the Chaos Channel all this time. The family could not do anything to Su Yin. If he left the Chaos Channel and went to the chaotic ruins, the result would be different. With the influence of the Han family, they would definitely be able to trap Su Yin and make it difficult for him to move an inch. Just wait and see. I will definitely kill you with my own hands. Su Yin, let's see how long you can live. The old grandmaster of the Han family was so angry that his lungs hurt. What the hell was this? The Han family was almost like a boy who gave out treasures. They had failed time and time again. They had lost too much face. The old grandmaster of the Han family did not believe that Su Yin could be so mighty for long. He was determined to teach Su Yin a lesson. That day would not be too far away. The experts of the demon region were also trembling in anger. Their livers hurt terribly. An expert scolded angrily. This little bastard sneakily attacked the 3rd chaotic divine mountain while our young paragon was not around. Just wait and see. The North Demon is coming. He will be here very soon. In short, the Ancestral Hall, Demon Region, Divine Firmament Sect, and Han family were flustered and exasperated. It was too embarrassing and humiliating. In just a few days, Su Yin had swept through the various chaotic divine mountains, causing bloodshed after bloodshed. He had slaughtered all the resource lands of their clans. How could they endure this? How could they endure this? The experts of the Feng family and the other clans wanted to laugh, but they could not bring themselves to laugh. The bloody events that had happened in the past few days were too cruel. 2 chaotic divine mountains had been massacred by Su Yin. Now the 3rd chaotic divine mountain was also in danger. However, the North Demon and the others had not arrived yet. Actually, Zhu Tian and the others had already rushed over with all their might. Their speed had exceeded the expectations of the various clans' experts. They were getting closer and closer to the Chaos Channel. Along the way, the young overlords released their auras. Their ferocious gazes overflowed the sky. One after another, terrifying figures with auras of 50,000 miles released heavenly divine power, causing the vast sky to tremble. Everywhere they passed, one chaotic territory after another. Because of their arrival, countless young geniuses trembled in fear. They really felt that the masters of their lives had arrived. Heavens, what is happening? Why are there so many young overlords appearing one after another? Could it be that a universe secret realm is about to open? A total of 10 terrifying auras caused the experts of the older generation to change their expressions. This was definitely a major event. Moreover, they were turning back and not going deeper. Their destination seemed to be the Chaos Channel. There was also a clan leader who let out a sigh. The world is vast and boundless. Naturally, there will be many outstanding individuals. However, over the years, how many young kings can there be? These existences are rampant under the heavens. They all possess the absolute combat strength of their generation. It's already very impressive for one to be unrivaled in an entire territory. A territory was generally referred to as 1,000,000 miles of territory. 1,000,000 miles of territory gave birth to countless geniuses. However, there would always be someone who would stand out and suppress the unrivaled younger generation of a territory. However, these young kings didn't just conquer a territory. They also suppressed the geniuses of a territory and made them follow by their side. They are the supreme beings of the younger generation, the overlords, the unrivaled kings. Now, they're traversing our territories without any fear. This is a symbol of strength. Who dares to block their path? The clan leader's voice resounded throughout the entire clan, causing the younger generation of the clan to fall silent. Just by hearing his name, that boundless heavenly might was already enough to suffocate them, let alone treating him as a goal to chase after. The reputation of the Northern Yao and the others was too shocking. They were known as unrivaled kings. In the future, it was only a matter of time before they became the divine king. They even had hopes of becoming almighty in the future. They would stand at the peak and look down on the world. This caused the cultivators of the same generation to feel despair. It was true that the higher one's cultivation level, the greater the gap between them. Not to mention now, more than 10 overlords of the same generation were traversing one territory after another in pursuit of a destination. Many people wanted to go and take a look, but they didn't dare. Even if they really went, what could they gain? It had to be said that some geniuses smiled bitterly. Living in the same era as these freaks was truly a tragedy. I don't know why they're going to the Chaos Channel. As far as I know, there's only one person in the Chaos Channel whose fate is unknown. He is at the peak of God Burial Mountain. Someone said with a trace of respect in his heart. Su Yin, also known as Madman Su, has unrivaled strength in his generation. This freak has appeared out of nowhere. The world has gained another young overlord. Now that the Northern Yao and the others had returned, one territory after another was in an uproar. Far away in the Chaos Channel, a huge commotion had already erupted. 2 Chaos Divine Mountains were bathed in blood. Now, on the 3rd Chaos Divine Mountain, the demons were trembling. One of the demons said with a trembling voice, War God Su Yin, we have nothing to do with the Northern Yao. Why are you making things difficult for us? That's right. We have nothing to do with the Northern Yao. You can't kill us like this. The demons haven't reached the level where all demons are revered. Another demon roared. You have a grudge with the Northern Yao. You shouldn't implicate us. The demons haven't reached the level where all demons are revered. You, an expert of the Northern Yao, almost exploded in anger. He roared thunderously. How dare you betray the Northern Yao? You shall die. Slap. Su Yin slapped him across the face, causing the Northern Demon Tribe expert to cough up large mouthfuls of blood. His body flew out like a kite with a broken string. His body shattered like porcelain. His appearance was truly miserable. Well said, Su Yin coldly shouted. If I really wanted to start a massacre, would all of you still be alive now? Who is the future ruler of the demon realm? Who is the revered demon? I don't care who it is. It has nothing to do with the Northern Yao. All of you who have nothing to do with the Northern Yao, get down the mountain. The peak of the 3rd Chaos Divine Mountain was in chaos. Large groups of demons fled. Even though there were some Northern Yao cultivators among them, Su Yin didn't care at all. Good, ha ha. Su Yin laughed loudly. His voice shook the heavens as he looked down at the 3rd Chaotic Divine Mountain. He looked at the demon region cultivators who were still hesitating and struggling. His own rippling divine might spread out, and everything fell into destruction and darkness. Boom! The entire 3rd Chaos Divine Mountain was covered in bloody light. The sky was dyed red. Only one figure stood at the peak of the mountain, looking down at the world. On this day, Su Yin dominated the world. His blood energy surged, and his terrifying aura suppressed his peers. Chapter 9:36. At this moment, the myriad sects were in an uproar, and the chaos passageway erupted with waves. This scene really frightened them. Even the news that came one after another made the experts of the various clans tremble in fear. Su Yin had annihilated 3 chaotic divine mountains, massacred the experts of the various clans who had stayed behind, and killed everywhere. On this day, Su Yin was so ferocious that it was suffocating. It was as if a primordial mountain was pressing down on this place, dominating the 10 great chaos passageways. His invincible posture was clear at a glance, causing the cultivators of the myriad races to cry out in shock and disbelief. Moreover, before this, the various Overlord forces had joined forces to besiege Su Yin, but they had faced a complete failure. They had even allowed Su Yin to obtain 2 supreme treasure embryos for free. Now, Su Yin had taken action and taken revenge. He had slaughtered the peaks of the 3 chaos divine mountains. Even now, the smell of blood on the mountain peaks had yet to completely dissipate. There were still waves of terrifying aftershocks that shocked the world. Su Yin had also obtained a large amount of resources. In short, the chaos divine mountains were massacred one after another, shocking the cultivators of the myriad races. The great figures in the outside world were dumbfounded. What a good Su Yin! He is truly domineering and decisive. He has completely fallen out with the various races. Yes, Su Yin is really not afraid of trouble. However, isn't he afraid of the North Demon and the others joining forces? No matter how powerful and terrifying Su Yin is, I reckon that the 2 peak heroes joining forces is enough to make Su Yin face the danger of death. The entire world was abuzz with discussion. In short, the rulers of the various races in the Ancestral Hall were furious. This was too sullen. Their race's peak heroes weren't in the Primal Chaos Passage, but Su Yin had unleashed a bloody revenge here. As for their people, no one rushed to stop Su Yin, nor did anyone rush to target him. What was this? A dignified peak race was actually intimidated by Su Yin alone. Other than the strongest expert of the race, no one else dared to provoke Su Yin. We are a dignified peak race. The entire Divine Firmament sect was incomparably furious. An old divine king roared. Could it be that we can't even kill Su Yin? Can't even kill a small heavenly god? I really don't believe that Su Yin can still defy the heavens. We must kill him. These words caused some people to shake their heads. Killing Su Yin was easier said than done. The King Flash of their race could not do it. Only the Divine King could make an exception. However, Su Yin had killed the Divine King and even a half-step mighty. He had many trump cards up his sleeves. People felt that only an almighty could forcefully suppress Su Yin. If there were too few experts, they would probably be killed by Su Yin instead. After all, the terrifying incident of him killing Zhu Fu with a single punch was still engraved in the hearts of the experts from the various large clans. Our race's Zhu Tian is coming soon. Su Yin definitely won't be able to be arrogant for long. The Ancestral Hall expert said hatefully, just wait and see. Once Zhu Tian returns, it will be Su Yin's death and doomsday. He provoked our Ancestral Hall like this. We definitely won't let him die easily. In short, Su Yin's actions and his tyrannical rupture really shocked the cultivators of the myriad races. Some people said in disbelief, a rising star of a declining race is really heaven-defying. If Su Yin doesn't die, the Divine King will have a chance. The 3 chaotic divine mountains exuded a bloody and ferocious aura, filled with Su Yin's remaining ferocious might. It had to be said that this scene had a great impact on some heroes. Since ancient times, the peak races had dominated the world, who dared to cause trouble in their territory. However, Su Yin had done something crazy and bloody in their precious resource lands. Some people were shocked, some were angry, some applauded, and some even mocked. You won't die if you don't court death. The North Yao and Zhu Tian, 2 peak talents working together, can even kill the supremes of the heavens, let alone Su Yin. Su Yin is also a supremes of the heavens. Someone replied with a frown. Haha, Su Yin is indeed a supremes of the heavens. However, once the North Yao and Zhu Tian work together, Su Yin will definitely die. The person who spoke sneered. It said that he provoked the Sun Dome and even the Dao Hall's peerless genius, sagely battle god. Some people are very dissatisfied with Su Yin. There are even some young overlords in the chaotic ruins who want to suppress Su Yin and not let him go too far. Many cultivators who heard this felt a chill in their hearts. Su Yin had definitely attracted the attention of the ancient races in the chaotic ruins. This was not a good thing. Recently, Su Yin's might have been too great. He had returned from a place of despair. As the saying went, people feared fame while pigs feared being fat. Now, many young overlords had their eyes on Su Yin. The killing in the 10th channel was probably just the beginning. There were even more powerful calamities waiting for Su Yin. He's gone. I wonder where his next destination is. Someone personally witnessed Su Yin leaving the 3rd chaotic divine mountain, leaving behind a bloody land. On this day, the 10 channels were completely rioted. Someone took advantage of the chaos to attack the resource lands of the 3 great races. This was a serious problem. Su Yin had really damaged the prestige of their races. Many capable experts gathered their courage and stood out. They wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to excavate the resources for cultivation. The calm 10 channels were surging with great waves. The 10 channels were faintly burning. Every 2 hours, there would be endless killing everywhere. In short, an especially shocking storm was set off. This matter was quickly discovered by the Ancestral Hall. Anger surged in their hearts. This was even more infuriating than when Su Yin massacred their chaotic divine mountain. This bunch of trash. Bastards. The experts of the demon region were furious. What was this? Were the people of the world starting to ignore the peak races? What a joke. For generations, it was us peak races that ruled the world. But now, any random cat or dog has jumped out and dared to attack our Ancestral Hall. What a joke. In short, the experts of these races were about to go crazy. The situation was completely out of their control, making them extremely angry. However, the situation was too chaotic, and they couldn't find out who did it in a short time. After the news of Su Yin massacring the 3 chaotic divine mountains was leaked, it led to a storm. This also caused the cultivators who were guarding other resource lands to flee in panic. They were afraid that Su Yin would come looking for them. Once they lost their garrison, these resource lands would be quickly breached. In a short night, the 10 great chaos channels were filled with a rain of blood, causing an uproar among the myriad races. This was a serious problem. Su Yin had really massacred their races until they couldn't raise their heads. If Zhu Tian and the others still didn't come, wouldn't this chaos channel be Su Yin's world? Su Yin is dominating the 10 chaotic divine mountains. If the young supreme beings don't come out, who can compete with him? Someone shouted loudly. Using the banner of Su Yin as a general, he also took advantage of the situation to fish in troubled waters. Robbing, Su Yin was a little speechless. He had wanted to go to other areas and steal some cultivation resources. The future path of cultivation was still long, and no one would complain about having more resources. However, the result made Su Yin smile bitterly. He had gone to 10 resource mystic realms, but there was nothing left. They had all been massacred, and the resources had been swept away. There were even people who pretended to be Su Yan's subordinates. They said that he had ordered them to do it. Su Yin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. D***, using my banner, but not leaving me any resources. It seems that there's no chance for me to get more from the 10 great chaos channels. Su Yin was a little helpless, but his harvest was already shocking enough. Almost every one of the 3 chaotic divine mountains had brought Su Yin thousands of kilograms of chaos materials. In other words, Su Yin's wealth, together with what he had extorted from the divine firmament sect, exceeded that of a half-step mighty. An astonishingly huge amount of wealth caused Su Yan's heart to tremble. Even a half-step mighty probably can't take out such a huge amount of wealth. Su Yin grinned and thought, so many chaos materials. I have to make good use of them to increase my strength. Now that Su Yin had the rough embryos of the sky, cleaving sword in the sun, moon, river, and mountain painting, on him, Su Yin pondered for a while and felt that he should buy some protective items. After all, he was going to go on an adventure in the Chaos Ruins, so he had to be fully prepared. He was not worried about the various experts, but if some big shot shamelessly attacked him, that would be the worst. I'll buy some materials to forge the rough embryos of the two supreme treasures. Su Yin couldn't help but nod. That's right. These two supreme treasures have a lot of room for improvement. If I temper and forge them, their power will definitely soar. When I step into the heavenly god realm in the future, I reckon that with these two supreme treasures, I'll be able to suppress some weaker divine king. But these materials are probably very expensive. I wonder if I can find them in the Great Tao City? Su Yin asked expectantly. In fact, the goods traded in the Chaos Ruins were very different from those in the outside world. In the Chaos Ruins, one could find many extinct items and rare materials. Su Yin was also prepared to go to the Great Tao City and see if he could buy some good stuff. At this time, he went to the third Chaos Channel. If he wanted to go to the Chaos Ruins, he had to pass through the Chaos Divine Mountain. Of course, for some Divine King experts, they could pass through the Chaos in the Chaos Ruins and enter the Chaos Channel. However, there was a certain risk, and weaker cultivators couldn't pass through the Chaos at all. For the cultivators in the 10 Chaos Channels, crossing from the Chaos Divine Mountain to the Chaos Ruins was a shortcut. Chaos Ruins, I'm coming. It's said that the territory near the Chaos Divine Mountain is vast and endless. It takes some time to leave the Chaos Channel Mystic Realm. Only then can you be considered to have entered the Chaos Ruins. It's time to go now. Su Yin glanced back at the Chaos Channel. These years were really unforgettable. At the same time, he looked in the direction of the god Burial Mountain and muttered to himself, I'll come again. That day won't be too far away. I'll definitely unravel the secrets of the Celestial Court. Su Yin clenched his fists. After a long silence, his whole body exuded a strong fighting spirit. The Chaos Ruins was a place where people of the same generation fought for hegemony. Similarly, before the Chaos Ruins was the Immortal Planet. He was looking forward to following the Chaos Ruins and finding out what had happened in that period of history. He wanted to see the truth. The more he knew, the more Su Yin felt that there was a great mystery in the universe. No matter what, some of the relevant clues that Su Yin had obtained were closely related to the race of the Burial Realm. Chapter 9:37. Su Yin's figure became blurry as he began to traverse the chaotic zone. The 10 chaotic divine mountains could be considered a valuable universe secret realm. It affected a vast area, and because of the influence of the universe secret realm, the nearby vast territory was affected by the secret realm. Therefore, in this blurry territory covered by chaos, there were no great beings who had surpassed the heavenly god realm. The universe secret realms also had their own rules of operation. It was rumored that the universe secret realms were created by great figures in ancient history. Some people also said that they were created by heaven and earth. Every universe secret realm had its own unique rules of operation, and naturally, many strange things were born in it. As for this incomplete universe, there were too many legends about this kind of resource secret realm. The legend that was closest to reality was that the complete universe of the past was damaged and became an incomplete universe. An incomplete universe couldn't exist forever. Of course, the incomplete universe was hidden very deeply, and it was too difficult to dig it out. Every incomplete universe contained shocking wealth. It was a rare, secret realm that even great beings would be jealous of. To be able to attack and occupy an incomplete universe was a heaven-defying opportunity. Very few great beings in history could do it. In this vast chaos ruins, there was definitely an incomplete universe hidden in the chaos. There were great beings who traversed the chaos and explored the vast chaotic zone, hoping to find traces of the incomplete universe. After a long time, Some groups secretly controlled the incomplete universe. These were all secrets that no one knew. Usually, when the Chaos Ruins opened, they would choose to enter the secret realm and excavate resources that could give birth to another universe era. It had to be said that the Overlords were really strong since ancient times. Of course, these resource secret realms had lost their attraction to great beings. After all, a heaven-defying opportunity could only be born once. Now, all the great beings in the world began to explore the chaotic zone to find traces of a new, incomplete universe. However, the Chaos Ruins were too big. Even great beings like the Divine King couldn't traverse the Chaos Ruins in thousands of years. Even great beings couldn't do it. After all, the Chaos Ruins weren't just vast, they were also dangerous. Wong, Su Yan's figure traversed the chaos. He could sense that even after leaving the Chaos Channel, the pressure of the 10 Chaos Channels was still present. No wonder the Divine King wasn't guarding this place. Su Yan traversed through this gloomy world. Along the way, he encountered many people who were traveling with him. However, his speed was surprisingly fast. He was faintly discernible in the chaos. Wherever he passed, the aura released by his body made the passers-by feel fearful. Another powerful cultivator has left. It seems like the fortune of the Chaos Channel is about to be exhausted. All the kings will gather in the Chaos Ruins. That's right. Su Yan massacred the 3 chaotic divine mountains and killed over 100 top-notch experts. His battle shocked the world. With this ruthless man here, I reckon he has scared away many young experts who were hiding in the dark. This was a group of cultivators who had formed a group and were preparing to head to the Chaos Ruins. They stood here in disgust. At the same time, they also looked at Su Yan's blurry back. Although they couldn't see clearly who it was, everyone could feel that this person was powerful and prosperous. Bang! All of a sudden, chaos energy rippled in the vast world. However, this rippling momentum suddenly became fierce to the extreme. It was like a boundless sea of chaos was rising and falling. The moment this momentum erupted, everything within a radius of 100,000 miles began to shake. The world seemed to be heading towards destruction. These cultivators were sweating profusely. They were so frightened that they almost wet their pants. This sudden change was too sudden. It was difficult for them to bear. They all felt as if they were walking towards death. Their internal organs began to distort along with the world's trembling. They cried out in pain. They held their heads, their hearts filled with despair. Had they suddenly encountered danger in the Chaos Ruins? But they still hadn't left the Chaos Channel's range. They shouldn't have encountered such a ridiculous event. Following that, they were horrified. In the trembling universe environment, the chaos energy that filled the skies collapsed. Following that, one figure after another with terrifying auras seemed to return from the heavenly realm. They were suffused with a peerless aura that could suppress the world. The gloomy world instantly brightened. It was as if dozens of terrifying suns had sunk. They illuminated the chaos, overlooking the world and swallowing the rivers and mountains. Heavens! They continuously trembled, their hearts filled with alarm. How could this type of thing happen? More than 10 unmatched kings, all of them at the heavenly deity domain. Now, they returned to the Chaos Channel. Could it be that something major happened in the Chaos Channel, drawing them all back at the same time? Immediately afterwards, these people's souls were about to fall. It was because a figure with an indistinct aura appeared before them. Normally, these people were all high up above, only able to look up to them. However, right now, they were in close contact with them. This made these onlookers tremble with fear and uneasiness. What happened to the chaotic divine mountain? He spoke, his voice sounding like a great bell, shaking them until their blood and chi surged, directly falling weakly onto the ground. This voice truly seemed to rule over their life and death. This group of cultivators stammered, unable to speak at all. Their minds were all still in shock, unable to free themselves. The indistinct figure released a cold snort. He raised his hand, removing a person's head. He directly seized the primordial spirit in the head, carrying out a soul search. When he learned about the successive bloody events that happened in the Chaos Channel, this person went mad with anger. He released an explosive roar, chaotic energy exploding in the sky, as if heaven and earth were being split apart. Suyin. Zhu Tian was furious, his jet black hair fluttering in the wind. His aura was too frightening, sweeping through all directions. The group of kings who came with him were all shocked. Zhu Tian's unfathomable foundation leaked out in his anger, making them feel even more pressured. The North Demon's face was gloomy. Something big must have happened, or else Zhu Tian wouldn't be so furious. Sun Dome frowned. According to the information from his family, the great factions of the Ancestral Hall had joined forces and spent all their resources to kill Su Yin. Now that Zhu Tian was furious, he was bound to lose. This Su Yin had escaped unscathed from the land of despair. He really didn't know what kind of benefits he had obtained. Zhu Tian was like a crazed monster as he charged into the Chaos Channel. His entire body was filled with the power of heavenly divinity, and it was as if a dark universe had descended upon the world. The vast chaos zone began to rumble involuntarily. Just like that, the dozen or so kings also charged into the Chaos Channel. As for the dozen or so cultivators who came together, their eyes were still filled with fear. When they saw a headless corpse, some of them even cried out in grief. They've returned, they were heartbroken. Their leader had died just like that, suffering an unexpected calamity. However, this was a disaster caused by Zhu Tian wanting to know some information. They found it hard to accept. Bastards, I really hope Su Yin can kill them all. These people are too ruthless. They were in great pain. In truth, they weren't weak, but they were too insignificant in front of Zhu Tian. A dozen or so invincible kings have descended into the Chaos Channel. They are all peak existences among the heavenly deities. The vast territory was in an uproar. When Zhu Tian roared out the two words, Su Yin, the beings in the distance already knew who had returned. They were all horrified. Wasn't this lineup a little too abnormal? A dozen or so invincible kings had arrived. If it was said that a dozen or so invincible kings had died in the Chaos Channel, no one would believe it. If they joined forces, would Su Yin still have a chance of survival? In fact, Su Yin had already left the Chaos Channel long ago. He was crossing the territory in this dark world when he suddenly stopped and muttered, "Who's calling my real name?" Su Yin frowned as he sensed something. He looked at the area at the end of the path. He could vaguely sense that a group of powerful beings had appeared in that area just now. Although they were far away, with Su Yin's spiritual power, he could still sense how powerful and terrifying this group of people was. Are they here to target me? Su Yin could vaguely sense a murderous intent targeting him, wanting to cut him apart. His face sank. Could it be that Zhu Tian and the others had returned? However, the enemies were somewhat beyond Su Yin's expectations. A dozen or so young experts with powerful auras were charging toward the Chaos Channel. If Su Yin really encountered them, the situation would be dire. A good horse doesn't eat pasture. Go ahead and cause trouble. Following which, Su Yin left. His current mission was to rush into the heavenly god realm. Currently, Su Yin was still standing at the 8th level of the divine spirit realm. However, Su Yin was very close to the peak of the realm. Although Su Yin could erupt with combat strength that was suspected to be on the level of a heavenly god, he was still a fake. However, he was only a fake heavenly god now, not a true heavenly god. I wonder what I will experience on the path to becoming a heavenly god. I really hope I can take this step soon. Su Yin crossed the Chaos Channel. Soon, he felt the pressure of the Chaos Channel weaken. This meant that Su Yin was about to leave this universe mystic realm. Su Yin could already see a corner of the majestic mountains and rivers in the distance. After crossing a distance, Su Yin arrived at his destination. It was a land of good fortune with myths and legends. The ancient chaos ruins had existed for a long time and were directly related to the immortal star. I finally arrived. Su Yin's emotions couldn't help but surge. He clenched his fists and fiercely crossed. The pressure of the universe mystic realm decreased sharply. When the pressure was about to completely disperse, Su Yin was about to step into the chaos ruins. However, he felt that the world had changed. It was terrifying and unimaginable. It was as if an unimaginable giant had quietly awakened. It was as if an ancient life form had awakened from a deep slumber. That terrifying power filled the outer space, affecting millions of miles of rivers and mountains. Boom! The world trembled. An unparalleled pressure appeared. It was as if a true dragon had locked down Su Yan's body. Su Yan's body was about to explode. He paled. Had he been exposed? But wasn't this too thorough? He had returned from God Burial Mountain. Could it be that he had attracted the attention of a supreme existence? But would a supreme existence really lower their status and wait here for him to enter the chaos ruins to capture him? There were pursuers behind him and tigers and wolves in front of him. No matter what happened, Su Yin was really imprisoned. He couldn't move his body. 9 Heaven's Divine Sovereign. Chapter 9:38. In truth, there really was such a possibility. The danger zone God Burial Mountain had existed for an incalculable amount of time. Throughout history, no one had been able to break through this danger zone. But Su Yan's appearance had caused an uproar amongst all the races. He had directly shattered the legend of this danger zone and even left the mountain unscathed. Otherwise, the various races of the Ancestral Hall wouldn't have dispatched over 100 top masters to hunt down Su Yin. A danger zone naturally caused great figures of all races to covet it. Even supreme elders would pay attention to it. Who knew what Su Yin had obtained in this danger zone? Even if he hadn't obtained anything, there would still be great figures that wanted to figure out the secrets of God Burial Mountain. If there really was an old antique hiding in the dark and targeting Su Yin, then the situation would be terrible. Su Yin fiercely struggled, but the mighty strength that originated from the world was too astonishing, making it difficult for Su Yin to move. He clenched his teeth, wanting to summon the Great Tao diagram and open up a path of escape so he could leave this area. Something's wrong. But soon after, Su Yan's complexion changed. This was because he discovered that there were many other living beings nearby. These cultivators' cultivations weren't weak. Their expressions were filled with fear and unease. Their situation was the same as Su Yan's. Their bodies were imprisoned, and it was difficult for them to move. Su Yan's complexion changed. What was going on? He calmed down and observed his surroundings. He discovered that the mighty strength that was born from the world was boundless. It affected an unknown number of regions, covering millions and millions of miles and involving many great territories. A vast and boundless territory with trillions of living beings. At this moment, panic and fear filled the air. Even the world changed color, appearing gloomy and gloomy. All of this was captured by Su Yin. This caused Su Yan's heart to shake. If there really was someone targeting him, there was no reason for such a great disturbance to occur. Perhaps something else was happening in this world. Mother of Asterisker, could I have encountered some danger zone in the Chaos Ruins? But I just came out of the Chaos Channel, so logically speaking, there shouldn't be any danger zones here. If there really was, news would have already spread out. Su Yan's breathing was heavy as he constantly scanned his surroundings. Boom! While Su Yan was nervously observing, there was a loud explosion. The sky shook and the earth trembled. The sound shook people's souls. Many people were shocked to the point that their souls were about to split. The universe became even more frightened and uneasy. This kind of unknown event was really frightening. Because there's actually a group of big shots hiding in the dark here. What are they waiting here for? Many people cried out in shock. There were at least a dozen divine kings, and their auras were terrifying and overbearing. There were even half-step almighties who were hiding in the dark. It was as if a group of small giants were hiding here. Is the incomplete universe about to appear? Su Yan's face was gloomy and uncertain. He carefully sealed the aura in his body and his life force. This was because Su Yin had a premonition that these people might be waiting for him here and targeting him. Damn, if that's the case, then they think too highly of me. Su Yan's face twitched fiercely. Suyin didn't believe that so many strong people had gathered here for no reason. Moreover, they were at the edge of the Chaos Channel, an area that wasn't suppressed by the secret realm. They had hidden themselves too well. If it wasn't for the changes in the world, they wouldn't have revealed themselves. Suyin could see that these people were also quite panicked. Obviously, they didn't know that such a sudden event would happen. Even powerful half-step supreme beings were suppressed and imprisoned. These big shots had gloomy expressions. They had indeed come for the secret of God Burial Mountain. However, this sudden event was beyond their control. Even if it was an almighty, it was impossible to produce such terrifying power in such a short time. Some old antiques even speculated that it was very likely that a universe secret realm had suddenly opened. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so shocking. Bastard, a mysterious half-step supreme being cursed in his heart. Perhaps he had seen some clues. Of all times, he had to appear at this time. After all, this was a land of death. Suyin would have to leave the Chaos Channel sooner or later. This was the only way to go from the Chaos Channel to the Chaos Ruins. Now they were all exposed. What the hell is going on? Suyan's expression became more and more solemn. He felt that the changes in the world were getting more and more serious. God knew how many large domains it had affected. As a result, mysterious chaos symbols were manifesting in the vast starry sky of the universe. This was a special kind of Tao mark that seemed to have traveled through time. It emitted a terrifying power that suppressed all living beings in the universe. Something's not right. Suyan's eyes narrowed slightly. His figure quickly sank, and his feet soon landed on the ground. At this moment, Suyin realized that although the mighty power derived from the world was still there, it only confined space. There was no problem for him to run on the ground. Air-restricting domain? Could it be some kind of ancient array or the opening of a special secret realm in the universe for this to happen? Suyin thought to himself. He didn't dare to move. He hid here and watched quietly. He was really worried that there were old monsters secretly eyeing the cultivators who came out of the Chaos Channel. Soon, more and more cultivators began to realize that the mighty power of the world only confined space. There was no problem for them to run on the ground. This area also began to become chaotic, and it spread far and wide. Similarly, more than half of this group of experts had left. They were frantically crossing, wanting to return to report. They all felt that something big was about to happen. So they don't know what's going on either. Suyin asked around for information. Some of the native creatures were dumbfounded. This was the first time something like this had happened. There were no records of this in the ancient books of their clans. However, this was very advantageous for Suyin. The air-restricting domain suppressed even the combat strength of experts. Suyin also followed the crowd, running here without worry. The old antiques who stayed behind to wait for Suyin could only watch helplessly. There were too many people. If they really attacked, news would definitely spread. This race of the burial region had a fierce god overseeing it. They didn't want to provoke this race openly. These old guys are really targeting me. A cold light flashed in the depths of Suyan's eyes. He didn't even look back. He followed the crowd and rushed into the Chaos Ruins. This corner of the grand world was filled with a wild and ancient aura. It was impossible to measure how long this world had existed. Generation after generation, heroes came forth in large numbers. Experts contended for hegemony and created many world-shaking heroes. The Chaos Ruins covered a boundless territory. Suyin couldn't sense anything familiar in this vast territory. He didn't know if he could still see the ruined mountains and rivers left behind by the immortal planet, or even the complete secret realms of heaven and earth. How far has it spread? There were too many people traveling with him. It was difficult to count. Suyin didn't know how long he had been running. In short, this area was in complete chaos. Millions of miles of mountains and rivers were affected. The forbidden space was too grand. It was difficult for news to spread in a short time. Many people hoped that a secret realm of the universe had opened, but Suyin didn't think so. He felt that a terrifying furnace had been born between heaven and earth. It was burning and gushing out a unique power of heaven and earth, thus affecting the changes in the world. Look, Someone cried out in alarm in the distance. Many people looked over. Su Yan's expression was abnormal. He looked around the crowd and found countless people running wildly in one direction. There was even the Divine King leading the way. What's going on? There were too many people rushing over. It was impossible to count. Among them, there were some heroes with powerful auras who were also running wildly. They seemed to be chasing after some treasure that was about to be born. Su Yan looked in the direction of their destination. He could see that in the distant world, there was a sudden appearance of chaotic lightning. There was also an even thicker forbidden space force spewing out. There was definitely a source that was continuously reviving from its slumber. But in the process, it caused millions of miles of territory to be densely covered with a terrifying forbidden space force field. It seemed as if the world was rising and falling with it. So scary. Could some supreme treasure have been born? Su Yan was speechless. He followed the crowd and ran wildly. Along the way, some people leaked some clues. I don't know, but the clan leader has ordered the whole clan to rush over. The greatest land of fortune in history is about to open. Someone spoke with an excited voice, leaving everyone horrified. Even divine kings cried out in alarm. The most powerful natural luck in history. Just how powerful of a place of natural luck was born here? Could it be that this is the fledgling form of the universe that only appeared briefly in history? After experiencing the nourishment of endless time, it has already developed into a universe. The greatest land of fortune in history? This was truly a bit frightening. Some people couldn't help but imagine it. Although Su Yan could see some vague images of the destination, the distance was quite far and wide. The main reason was that the commotion coming from the source was too shocking. Another day passed. Countless creatures were running across the great earth, heading towards their destination. Finally, on this day, a loud explosion rang out. At this moment, the world seemed to have split apart. The sound was too violent, like the roar of millions of oceans. All living beings were paralyzed on the ground. The Divine King felt as if his body was about to explode. This wasn't a massacre, but a deterrent force that targeted one's cultivation level. But even the Divine King found it extremely difficult to bear. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Su Yan's eyes were turning black, but he was still able to hold on. Immediately, Su Yan felt a vast energy awakening. It covered the sky and covered the earth. It was accompanied by an ancient air current that gushed out and rushed out. He did not know how many large regions it had passed through. In short, it had a tendency to hit the end of the universe.